On this week's episode of the Iron Skillet Podcast, we have experienced designer, mentor, and creative director, Malcolm Lofton. Over the years, Malcolm has leveled up his skill set in the field of business and marketing, going from retail management in a sporting goods store to assisting startups, working with small businesses, and mentoring creatives. We discuss what it takes to get out of that hometown mentality, move into a big city and handling big opportunities, and we even laugh and joke about our trip to Chicago for a visit. With so much inspiration and knowledge packed into this episode, it's a must listen. Let's check it out.
What's up, everyone? We are here at T. Clem Studios, Iron Skillet Podcast. In the building tonight, we got Shator Lane, the Humble Savage, as usual. T. Clem is being paid to be on the boards. You already know.
I wish.
You getting stocks. That's what it is.
Oh.
I go by Bullwhip, and if you guys haven't tuned into us, we are a group of creatives that focus on personal and community growth. And today we got a little bit of a different podcast for you guys because we're going to focus a little more on business. We don't have an artist in or a DJ. We got the homie Mac, which longtime friend, business partner. Like, this guy's got a lot of knowledge that we're going to dive into in this talk. We're going to talk about everything from business to marketing to
life.
Who knows what we're going to get into, honestly.
You really never know.
I got a whole list, and I'm sure we're going to venture off. But as we always like to start, we want to get the backstory from you and, you know, how you came up. So Shah's going to take us into that.
Yeah, Mac, whenever I'm trying to describe you, I'm like, he's like a creative marketing genius. That's like the way I describe
that's about
you.
It right there.
And that's all what you're going to hear about today. It's going to be lots of knowledge. But we know where you're from, but people could be listening to this in other countries.
Yeah.
So we're going to get a little bit about, like, briefly about where you're from and kind of what growing up was like. So tell us a little bit about where you're from and what stuff you were into, like kind of like middle school, high school age. Like, where was your attention at that time?
Yeah. This is that moment and any given Sunday where Jamie Foxx throws up in the huddle. Like, it was all good until
right now.
until it was time to play. But no, originally, Texas bred, grew up in the DMV area though. Got the opportunity to leave Texas at a young age after getting adapted to the culture down in the Austin area. Came up to DC. Great melting pot at the time, and then eventually found myself back and forth between the DMV area, landing in Winchester for middle school and high school. It's been a great experience, but a very different experience coming from city living into Winchester. It was a very challenging time because I realized this was a small knit town and community to where if you weren't really from here, you were never going to kind of fit in, and trying to fit that mold of everybody from the area was very difficult. Especially in a predominantly white area, but it was an awesome experience. It opened my eyes to so many things that, you know, even today, you know, I'll never be too far from the area. This area will always, you know, hold a special spot in, you know, my growth and where I've come from, and it's definitely made me, you know, a different type of hungry. Through those times in middle school and junior high and high school, definitely I was somebody who was trying to find himself, you know, trying to fit in like everybody, you know, just trying to find your place and, you know, how you want to show up. You know, I always told myself, like, I didn't know what the hell I was going to be, but I was going to find a way to make it. Teachers always tried to channel that in and focus, but I found myself as the class clown, as you could say. You know, I always was the life of the party.
You ain't lying.
I always felt like, you know, The teacher had to check, and the teacher had to talk to me nice, so to speak. Those are the words that I like to use now. But it was almost like, yo, if I wasn't feeling it and the teacher wasn't on that same wavelength, it was going to be a hell of a class. I was taking the class on a ride. But I talk to a lot of teachers now, and it was always like one of those. It was a different way of expressing, your intelligence. Everybody has a different way they kind of show up. And I love that it was never really looked at as like being malicious, always out for the experience in life. And, junior high through high school, that transition was great. High school, went to a brand new high school that was just built, got to like vote on the name, shout out Millbrook High School, went there and, I guess you could say started to make a name for myself, feeling confident. It's high school. Everybody's, feeling themselves in some type of way. I played damn near every sport, was a part of every club from, regardless on what the connection was. I was somebody on a yearbook staff, very immersed and connected to, we started a TV show while I was there, the PSN network, which is really dope.
I feel like you're the kind of kid that walks into high school and knows every person.
That's kind of how it organically happened, and it all started when I came to Winchester.
Yeah.
And I got a good friend of mine invited me to a party at the skating rink. I didn't have any friends. I got invited, and then I remember when I came home, I like smacked my lips and went to throw the flyer. Like, I'm not going to this. And my parents were like, why? And I'm like, because this kid isn't like really that cool. People were talking about how like lame and how we wasn't going to do it. And my parents was like, nah, you're going to go to this party. You're going to meet these people and you're going to have a good time. And it was like allowing myself to not get caught up in cliques at a young age really gave me that range. By the time in high school, it was like, I'm on the yearbook staff. Of course, everybody wants to report and be a part of all the cool stuff. But I was following behind the flag and rifle team. And I was just like, yo, these people are dope as hell.
Yeah.
This is like, shame on everybody that didn't give themselves the opportunity to meet everybody in high school, because everybody, just brought something different. And that opportunity I covered softball on the PSN network. I was, working with the flag and rifle team behind the scenes and reporting and taking photos and really getting to know those women that were talking about their stresses of competition when I'm a football player thinking it's always about the Friday Night Lights and what the Winchester Star is going to be, reporting and what that narrative is going to look like, and then really seeing what these people are doing. I'm like, damn, this is where the pressure's at. This is where the money's at. This is live. And, having those opportunities, I felt comfortable saying, I look at legacy as my legacy is being able to leave a part of myself, a positive part of myself with everybody that I interact with. So like looking back at high school, it's like, I'm glad that it's over and I will never be that person reliving. I think this is the first time ever I've ever shot out my high school. But it was something that I realized, I live these experiences, they're chapters, they're seasons. I experience them to the max and then kind of keep it moving. But I do appreciate, looking back and seeing the opportunity that it presented, because it wasn't outside looking in. It looked great, but it was a hustle of just trying to fit in, find your voice, deal with things that at the time we didn't know how to explain, like what racism looks like, there was just it was a lot, but it was a great experience overall. It took me to greater heights. I had the opportunity to then transition into going to college, and it was overall it was awesome.
That's good.
Yo, he didn't leave any room for questions. Like, he literally just told the story the way it was, and I'm like, hold on, wait a minute.
But it's good.
I think perception is everything, and the way you described the PSN network made me feel like y'all was like the first Sports Center ESPN, like not the first, but like you described that like it was Sports Center for high school. I'm like, man, we didn't have one of those. We had like early morning announcements.
That was all we had. Sure enough.
Homeroom, it was popping. We were talking about something. Towards the end, we started acting out skits and all of that. It got pretty good.
That's dope.
I wonder if they're still carrying on tradition for you guys.
They got to. I know in the area, being a part of, I was a member of DECA and the opportunity of experiencing networking in high school. It was really cool, and we talked about what we were doing, and I know it started to branch out to the other high schools. How sustainable it was and how, long it stayed around, I don't know, but I definitely know we created an impact. I love re-envisioning American legacy brands through your own perception. It's something I like to do in my free time, whether it's I'm bootlegging, different logos of how can I put my twist on, rebranding the Gap logo.
Yeah.
Tailoring it to like what I'm trying to, how I'm trying to tell the story or collaborate with it. Or if it's just like, PSN, we all thought that was the dream job at the time, especially me being highly involved in sports. It was just like, this is the best, and I want to be able to, paint that perception through our lens.
Speaking on the whole rebranding, we was in here like a week or two ago, and we had the whole. I feel like I was sitting in class, and Mac was up here at the board just going in and spitting game, and I'm like, okay, I can incorporate that in what I'm doing. And,
yeah, no, for sure.
Dude, you're a great teacher, and very inspiring how you spit this knowledge. And one thing that when we planned this whole talk, I didn't expect us to get that deep into high school, but I feel like you really summed it up. I feel like a lot of people feel those ways, especially somebody who moved from a different area and then got dropped in like, man, I don't know nobody, but
Yeah.
I mean, hell, that piece of information might help somebody out there.
Yeah. It's definitely never turn down a lead. Never turn down an opportunity. I say, yeah.
That's the first piece of game. If you haven't picked up any yet, there's one for you.
I know before we hopped on, you started talking. We were like, you got to save it for the podcast.
Yeah, I don't even remember what we were saying, but I hope we get back to that.
Well, I do, and it was about your first job.
Oh,
all right,
okay.
let's
being at Martin's.
Yeah,
because this is probably around the same time. It's your first job. You're probably young, and you were saying some things that you thought you gained from working in that area.
Yeah, I would say it was definitely, I remember at the time there was a couple of opportunities because I've always been somebody just hungry for money. I really didn't know. I think I was chasing. I've always been hungry for like things and experiences and understanding that blocker was always money. Growing up, I had the opportunity to, not struggle as bad as everybody else, but it was definitely, hard. And I always was driven by understanding if I had more money, I didn't have to, go through the experiences that I experienced growing up. So as soon as I was old enough to get a job, I was all on it, really about it. And I knew a lot of my friends at the time, their first jobs, they're usually busboys. Touching other people's picked over food freaked me out to where it was like, nah, this isn't really for me.
Yeah.
But I got into Martin's. Yeah, Martin's, the giant chain, and working in a grocery store. Started out on the bottom as the one of those people that was out clearing carts every hour on the hour in the parking lots.
Yeah.
Turning that into competitive
Essential.
games with all the strong people in this spot, seeing how many carts we could push back before we could accidentally allegedly almost hit a vehicle.
Did y'all have like one of those electric
Allegedly.
things?
Oh,
Or was
hell no. That
those?
was way before that.
This
the stuff
is
even
all-
existed.
all
that was a
muscle.
pipe dream. I think like at the time, the technology that just came out was being able to wrap some cord around
A bunch of them.
a bungee cord around a bunch of them to keep the carts together. But we were doing this the old-fashioned way.
He was
Yeah.
out there with a rubber band.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to like get them in, and from there they brought us into bagging, which is a crazy experience of like all the different types of personalities and people that like their shit bagged a certain kind of way.
Yeah.
Never understood why people would prefer paper over plastic.
Did you used to bag the milk?
I think it was I think
It's
I
a
remember it
personal
being
preference?
a personal preference, but I don't think I don't think that was my instinct of like I'm looking at that and I'm sliding it to the side like, yo.
Oh, bro, I'm bagging the milk because I'm carrying 20 bags up the steps. Like I'm making one trip.
Yeah, that's
and
definitely.
I can't just hold that in my hand. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's 8 pounds, so you gotta worry about that bag holding up.
Yeah, I think
Well,
I don't think I would
double bag it.
ever forgive. Like I remember they said 8 is great because they try to get you to make sure you put at least 8 items per bag to maximize the bag. But like what I looked at is like I'd be damned because I'm that exact same person. I'd be damned if I'm responsible for a bag breaking.
Right.
Because
Bruh.
You stuffed it.
my name is on this. Like,
Did you double bag cans?
Oh, I double bagged everything. I didn't give a damn about like the 10
We
cents
ain't
or whatever
saying
the
bag.
bag was, whatever the bag cost. I'm like, the company's got this.
I was about to say,
Yeah.
my man is all about customer service and making the customers happy. And we're
Already,
definitely going to dive more into
You're
that.
gonna get some slack for your carbon footprint now.
Oh, snap.
Oh well.
We're not
Cancel
even going to
culture's
dive
real.
into that. One more thing you said about Martin's was it was one of the first self-checkouts in the area.
Yeah. So I worked my way up from pushing carts and realized that was the place where everybody with no personality ended up. And then, really fitting in with everybody, talking to all the different departments. I found myself indoors bagging, putting people's groceries back when the store was closing. Simple things like all the like tasks that nobody wants to do in the store. Then work my way up to cashier. But in running cashier, just because I always had an interest in technology, had the opportunity to be one of the younger peoples that had the patience to be able to run their U-Scan machines. And that was the first introduction to like the self-checkout, which was, at the time it was awesome because there was no real responsibility and they were just testing it, figuring out how it was going to work.
Yeah.
Are those the little guns? Like
no,
scan
this
guns?
is before the guns. This is just when they were just the name of the system, POS system, I guess, was U-Scan, but
okay.
it was just, you going up, checking out your own items and walking out.
Okay,
Yeah.
I
And
got
seeing
you.
people learn this stuff, being conditioned to like always
Be their own cashier and bagger.
it was the craziest thing
Yeah.
because it's like it's really not that hard, but watching people get mad,
Right.
yell at the stuff, see the iterations of the technology because it was extremely glitchy when it first happened. If you
Right.
didn't immediately set an item down or something shifted,
Oh, I remember that.
or if it was a big order, it was just like the computers didn't know how to respond.
Right.
And
Yeah.
but yeah, worked up to that, and then from there took a little leave of absence for working because I think I just got too caught up in the making that weekly like paycheck, that little $100 check a week, that I kind of lost my focus.
Those were
And
the days.
being involved in sports and things, and but then quickly transitioned and found myself back to the money doing other things later on.
I know those U-Scan things almost got me in trouble a few times.
Oh, I bet
Yeah,
you did.
yeah.
Like, holding the candy bag up a little bit to get some weight off of it.
bro.
Feeling that thing
I
to the
could
top.
tell those stories. Yeah, I've intentionally hop, skipped, and jumped navigated through those experiences. But
It's funny. I seen a meme today, and it was like they're gonna be real mad at Walmart when I scan that PS5 as like a bag of fruit or something.
Yeah.
Something crazy. So after high school, I know you had the college days. You did some time at Pot State and Dub V. Tell us a little bit about that and what your major was.
yeah, high school, it really I felt the whole time I was trying to define myself and find out who I was through school that I didn't already realize I was somebody. I spent so much time looking at what other people was doing that I didn't ever take time to reflect on who I was and what I was doing. And it wasn't until I remember after January, I guess us coming back from winter break in school, that I was just in the computer lab and I'm like, yo, I haven't applied to colleges yet. My parents haven't really talked about this. I see everybody, committing and hearing through these letters, but I haven't even considered what this looks like. Was talking to one of my best friends. He had got a baseball scholarship to Pot State. I'm like, what's Pot State? And he's like, it's West Virginia's junior school. It's junior college. It's a dope school, yada, yada, yada. It's small, but, it's going to work out. And me being easily influenced, I was like, all right, bet. What do you got to do? And they're like, just apply. I think I was after lunch, just applied, and 2 weeks later, I got something in the mail saying I was accepted, and my mom's like, "Oh, you've been accepted to college," and I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like, oh yeah, I forgot that did happen, you know.
my God.
And it wasn't until like I didn't even take it as a big deal because I just wanted to get out. I've always had a hunger of being like, being complacency is not like for me, you know.
Yeah.
That's not the not where I'm hanging out, and you know, I always struggled growing up because you don't really have the opportunity if you don't have parents that have considered things or always focused on the grind, really showing you a lot of different opportunity. And so I always was stimulated by, you know, that hunger for more, like trying to experience whatever,
shit.
you know, if it was kayaking, if it was hiking, if it was, you know, you name it. I practiced with, you know, one of my neighbors as his training, learning, coaching him to be better, but we were like dirt bike. You know, I grew up like, you know, being on dirt bikes, being into BMX. And, you know, my parents would never really invest into that as my hobby, but being able to push people and being that athlete that was able to do this stuff and help others grow while I was just having fun, you know, I've been all about that. So like to bring that back, it was just always about like the opportunity. And Pot State got me the hell out and allowed me to see things for myself, to realize like, oh, you know, there's things beyond, you know, beyond a whole bunch of money falling into your lap for you to be able to leave the town or the situation that you're in. You don't have to leave everything everything behind, you know, to move forward in life. And Pot State showed me that. You know, Pot State was a great experience where I once got accepted, went up to that school. It was in Kaiser, West Virginia. Very small, very, very small town. I want to be careful in how I describe it. Don't want to step on any toes, but it was an experience to where my dorm hall, because the school was expanding, because the growth of the school doubled over like 200% in the class that the class that I came in, that they were working on integrating a lot of different types of personalities. I mean, it was a criminal justice and an agriculture school. And then they started having all of these other majors that were kind of, you know, popping up, and they were investing in it. It was a melting pot from people from Baltimore starting to come to this. They were getting athletes for the basketball team, the baseball teams, all these different athletes from different cities. And that really, I know, was a turning point for Kaiser in that opportunity of being like, we're a really country backwood town that we really don't see a lot, you know. So that was very hard. And I remember I got my dorm room, I was in Friendship Hall, and it was anything but a friendship type of opportunity. Friendship Hall was an all ag dorm with all kids that grew up, you know, either knowing these guys, you know, backwood country boys that was just like really on no tolerance, like real no tolerance for like what they didn't know. And they put a whole slew of inner city kids in the basement of Friendship Hall. And if you want to talk about like what that experience was like, it was crazy because, you know, it was like, it was a different type of like, we were like segregated. No matter how they tried to bring us together, we can never connect to their living, and they can never connect and identify to us. And there was a lot of, you know, wars back and forth between the dorms growing up. But I still, you know, to this day, a good handful of those guys that I knew, like in the basement for a friend hall, we still kept in touch. You know, we took that opportunity. I was only there after like getting on the dean's list, crazy, because I was never that student in high school. There was like, it wasn't shit else to do but show up to class and, you know, pay attention. It was either that or do drugs, and like doing drugs with no stimulation behind it, that shit is whack. Like, after that, it was just kind of like, yo, I've did my time here. Let's move on to WVU, because my college experience in applying to schools was, I was looking at the only criteria that I told my guidance counselor I wanted out of a college was go to a school that had a good football team and a good basketball team. You know, somewhere that was dope, that I could find myself, you know, rooting for the team. being a kid from Austin, the Austin area, like I'm always forever a Longhorn. Shout out to Texas Longhorns. That was always my team. So it was like, you know, I didn't want to go back home because I already knew that experience, even though I was away from it for so long, only visiting the Texas area over the summers and visiting family. So I was like, you know, show me some experiences. So at the time I was looking at Clemson, Penn State, and West Virginia, and it was a Florida school. I think it was like Miami. But when I was looking at Miami, it was like that wasn't realistic. And my parents are like, Clemson? I'm not driving to Clemson. Like, you're not going anywhere that I'm not willing to take you. So I didn't do any college visits. It was just like, okay, this is another opportunity. This is easy. I'm going to just go to WVU because everything's going to transfer and I could be there. And, you know, from WVU, it just kind of turned another page into another chapter of my life. But it was, you know, that's kind of how I approached college.
What degree did you pursue?
I kind of bounced around. It was general studies for a while. Then it was a very vague, I forget the marketing degree that I switched to, but then I went back to business management and administration.
Okay.
My goal and my vision when I got to West Virginia and started taking college a little bit more serious, it was like I wanted to be the creative vision and the voice. I wanted to be the voice of the culture at the corporate level. You know, I wanted to be able to have that voice and be able to deliver that with a creative lens. So that always drove me, but those channels weren't yet established. Like people weren't really telling you how Pharrell in the 2000s was such a great creative entrepreneur. Like they didn't know how to teach that. You were either getting that transitioning from an industry, being able to be a spokesperson and be like, I creatively do dope shit, but like what that looked like, I knew I wasn't a visual artist. I knew I wasn't spending all my days into Photoshop, even though that stuff at the time, like the early versions of Photoshop, that shit was cool and anybody could really do it. I knew like Facebook, it was just starting to show its face, so it was like, you know, that was interesting, but I wasn't into the tech, and it just kind of was like nobody knew the lane. It was just kind of, I want to make money in college. Who can make the most graduate and make the most money when this is said and done?
Look, go ahead.
That's crazy that you had that much clarity on wanting to do that specifically because there's no example for you to follow.
Yeah.
Like now everybody wants to do that because they see everybody, you know what I'm saying, doing it. But back then there was nobody that was like out in the world like, I'm the creative director of A, B, and C, and this is what I do. So I feel like that's dope, and I feel like we're gonna get into some more stuff that's gonna touch on that later.
Yeah. It was a really cool experience, and it was just tough though, because it's like your parents not knowing anything. It's just like, I wish, you know, a lot of kids, shout out to everybody that has that support. Support looks so different, you know, getting that support from your family. And like, I will never be up here saying that my parents and my family didn't support me, because hell yeah, they did a lot. But just, support looks different, you know, for everybody. And being conditioned, you know, growing up black, having to do things a certain type of way to be successful, always having to work harder, be smarter, and not having that opportunity to slack off or joke around or not take things seriously. It was always hard for my parents to kind of wean me in when I'm like, I felt like I didn't have to change myself to show up, but they're like, look, this world that you're about to experience, you know, you need to, you know, sharpen up, and you need to show up a certain type of way. If you want to, you know, get a job, this is the degree you got to have. So I'm falling asleep in these classes of 100 to 500 people in these auditorium rooms being like, this is cool, but this isn't me. But, you know, I was navigating through
Checking
it to the
box.
next thing. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But like now I definitely can see how, you know, parents are patient in allowing, you know, their kids who are humans, you know, who have brains that, you know, work differently than theirs, allowing them to be free and, you know, supporting what their path looks like for themselves.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to experience it too to learn. You know, you're not going to listen all the time. You got to fail, so to speak.
Yeah. And your parents got to let you fail, you know, even no matter how hard it is. I was extremely hard-headed, but, you know, which is what I credit a lot of my experience to. Running around, waiting around till the
Last
last second, or till the lights of the street lights came on, instead of understanding that I was supposed to be home before the street lights came on.
Right.
There were certain life experiences that you
Yeah.
learned to where it's like, oh, that's how I learned how to be on time for sure.
Got my ass beat.
Yeah.
Facts.
All right, so getting into life experiences and being hard-headed, I'm not asking you to dive into too much detail, but definitely kind of put it in perspective and for the listeners. All right, so at WU, Mac got into some trouble, and like I said, I'm not asking you to incriminate yourself or dive deep into what happened.
I think
but
I could speak to
turn
like,
it into a positive
yeah,
one.
no. And like, you know, I guess if people, I mean, Google exists. You can't hide from, you know, history and
Yeah.
what happens. You know, I can say because I've leveled up and learned to call Saul, a lot of things allegedly happened throughout college that I could speak through because, you know, for legal reasons. But at the end of the day, I found out the value of networking and fundraising throughout college. You know, I found out how valuable that was. And, you know, I felt like because I was somebody going to West Virginia University with over 30,000 students, something that I wasn't experienced to, like how I was going to be able to survive. And I found opportunities and I created opportunities for my friends and I that didn't come from the background of always being handed things to be able to earn our way and be able to focus and make college what we wanted to make it for ourselves. So we definitely was living life in the fast lane and, you know, greatly benefited from it. You know, it granted us access behind the scenes at Big East basketball games where we're hanging out, you know, with the top basketball team, in my opinion, that West Virginia's ever seen, upsetting Kentucky in the Final Four through my days there. That was huge, beating out John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, all of them, sending it off, meeting people that were going to school to be politicians, presidents of frats. You know, there was an opportunity for being, you know, black at what we call like PWI, a public, you know, white institute somewhere like, you know, West Virginia University. It's like I would always tell my family in Texas I was going to West Virginia, and they were like, Western Virginia, around the time, and then this is also around the time where that Virginia Tech shooting happened.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
People
yeah.
were calling me asking what was going on, of like, are you okay? And it's like, what? This
Way
is like,
far
this
away.
is not. And they're like, oh, I thought Western Virginia. I'm like, no, you do know this is a state,
Even
right?
still, that's
It
Southern
is
Virginia.
This is crazy. It was West Virginia was new to me. I
Yeah.
remember my mom driving up there, dropping me off, and she's like, boy, you better not make me drive up here. You better not be hanging out with
It
the
happened,
wrong
didn't it?
people to make me come up here. I mean, I learned to, you know, I understood once the bags were dropped off, my roommate, I'm looking across the parking lot, and he's coming from Brooklyn, New York, and his mom is throwing everything out the car, and we're looking at each other like, this is it, bro. Like,
me and
we're
you.
in these mountains. We've never experienced this shit, but, like, this is where we're at.
Uh-huh.
Like, you know, it's no turning back. Like,
Yeah.
our parents only came to pick us up when it was time to go, until we found out to fend for ourselves, to be able to find our own transportation to get our asses back if we needed to go.
You know, I think that was a beautiful interpretation of getting in trouble. Like, you, over what you just said, you couldn't even tell that this man was arrested and this and that. Like, he just put it in a perspective like it was a Disney movie.
Yeah, I mean, you know, life is all of what you make it and how you look at it. You know, something that I've recently and started paying attention to, and is I've made it a law, is removing right and wrong, and disconnecting myself from perfectionism, understanding that, you know, not everything has to be a set way for you to be satisfied, you know, with that result. You know, right or wrong, I just look at there's two different opportunities, and one might work out for you, and one might show you that you need to reconsider, you know, your decisions and keep it moving. You know, like I had the opportunity there to experience what it's like to be the man on campus and really own that reputation, and then understanding that reputation means nothing when you're relying on people and everybody's kind of once your front page news, you know, And, that's not cool, or, people turn their back because it's not, ideal. You go from having a whole bunch of friends to having real friends. And, without the support of my friends, I definitely wouldn't have got through what I got through. But, it was an experience. It definitely was an experience that they told me, and I left there being told that I'm never going to be able to do a lot of things. I'm not going to be successful. I remember that judge telling me that, that I told them that they would never see me again, and they laughed. And I remember, being proud to show off my record of being the fact that I had never even had like a parking ticket. And it's not to say I was this pristine, tight-knit kid. I just didn't get caught,
Yeah.
And then this time I kind of put myself in a situation to where I didn't believe I could get caught, and I got set up. I didn't think I thought there was always perks to being known and being the face of everything, that you don't realize that a lot of people don't like that, and kind of, they kind of want to see your downfall, and for their own, they want to see you down to make themselves feel better about what they're dealing with and going through. And it was just a situation where they left there. They told me I wasn't going to be able to do a lot of things. I wasn't going to be able to vote. I wasn't going to be able to do, this and that. I wasn't going to be able to get a job. And, all of it was bullshit. I created my own narrative. I looked at that as an opportunity to where before I always knew things were going to work out, and I was very lazy about how I approached my hustle, just taking my hustle for granted. And, after that opportunity, it's like, I got to grind. I'm hungry. I'm hungry as hell. And I want your food just because you're eating in front of me. Like that, it just created a type of tenacity to where it was just like, fuck them.
Yeah. Prove them wrong.
That's the answer I was looking for. That's not the fuck 'em. I was talking about everything else. That was like the period, like fuck 'em.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So, in retrospect, you definitely bounced back from all that, and you learned a lot from that whole experience, and it made you hungrier, seeing everybody eating in front of you. I love that. All right, now's gonna be the fun part. Let's dive into the finish line days and what you learned from that experience. Let's dive into that. I feel like this is gonna be a good talk.
Yeah, like finish line. This was like the dream spot. Like everybody, me being a sneakerhead, I've always been, I should have just started dropping AKAs. I'll joke around and say AKA, the master of souls. Like, you ain't messing with my souls. And like I would joke around and people would be like, what the hell does that mean? It's like, you know what this means, because when I walk in this room, the way this conversation is starting is by the shoes that I'm wearing, the soles that I'm rocking. And like they were like, yo, that's deep. You really thought a lot about it. I was like, no, not really. I was just being simple in a moment. But I decided to, rock with it and deem it in the spirit of just making ridiculous AKAs and seeing how long you can go. How many AKAs you can drop in 2 minutes. It's just been something fun to really think about. But loving, getting back to finish line, loving shoes, it was always dope because like I always loved having sneakers, and I always grew up with that one prestigious pair of sneakers because, I grew up with getting 2 pairs of shoes a year. I would get a pair of shoes at the beginning of the school year and maybe one come Easter. And, that's kind of what we were rocking. And I realized, I couldn't beat my shoes up because, they had to be clean all the way throughout the school year. So I always appreciated shoes because it was always something that I wanted. And like, it was always up on this pedestal because I realized, how hard they were to come by. So to have the opportunity to work there and know everything about sneakers before, sneaker knowledge was a thing, because I was the kid that had the East Bay catalogs, that was dreaming, that was writing up my wish lists of everything that I was going to buy when I got money, and bought none of it when I got the money. Mm-hmm. That was like, something that I lived. And I love sports. I loved how athletes told stories through their, the shoes that they wore. MJ's the GOAT. I will always, put MJ and his sneaker game and the stories he told through his sneakers, the designers that worked on his sneakers. Shout out Tinker Hatfield. You know, he's one of those people that inspired me throughout my journey of being like, yo, how can we create something that solves both the person's needs and also is everlasting and, you know, being able to be sustainable and last throughout time. You know, you never really want to be trendy with things. You just want to last and that story be able to last. And Michael Jordan has been the GOAT behind that. But Finish Line, it just created an opportunity, one of those first opportunities where nobody saw it as this, but I saw it as that was the first time I accepted a job that I never really felt like I worked a day
in your life.
In my life. But it was unfortunate because, you know, your parents see it as a retail part-time job that really isn't going anywhere. You know, this story of Finish Line is interconnected because, you know, I think I might have been off work from working at the grocery store for about maybe 2 years. And I worked through Finish Line all throughout college. So it's like I worked for this company for almost around like 8 years. You know, it was 8 years of my life. And I worked my way from the bottom of being a part-time, you know, person that was getting 4 hours a week till like working my way up to the top, you know, and making moves from there. But it was overall, you know, I could work that job with my eyes closed. And I think it was about good management. And I was under a good administration, so to speak. There's a woman by the name of Kara Draper. She really like helped shape the mindset of like learning how to treat management and learning how to be savvy and be the best, how to sell, how to convert customers, and just how to like read between, you know, what people are really asking for. Not, hey, do you have this cool T-shirt that just came out, and understanding that cool T-shirt that came out and being like, yo, I have something like it, and let me show you it real quick before you leave, and learning how to, you know, hustle and share. And like through that, I had the opportunity of meeting y'all. You know, like I was there for a couple of years, really made a name for myself. I think I went off to college, and when I got back, when I was checking in from one of those breaks through college, you guys were, you know, getting your foot in there. And, you know, through the years, we learned how to build. You know, we learned how to build. We learned how to sell. I could say we taught ourselves how to sell sawtooth slugs, you know, while collecting all the sneakers that nobody could get access to, you know, like
many of those.
Win-win. It was a win-win.
Yeah.
To get everybody up to speed, we all worked at Finish Line, as you can see. Mac was there for some time. Then when he went off to college, I got hired. Kara was actually the one that hired me. And at some point around there, we got shy, and I don't even recall when it was. It was in high school.
That was, were you
I was in high school.
You were still in high school.
That was literally my first job, and I worked that job all the way until grad school. So I worked there for like 6 years.
And then Mac came back from Dub V, still dealing with the issues. And I remember the day he got off everything, and it was like, I was excited for him.
Yeah, that was a day, and I remember, you know, whatever day that court hearing was, and them telling me that, you know, I wasn't going to be able to get a job, and then being placed on probation, and all of these ridiculous, absurd things that was so unnecessary, but just getting hit by the book. If you don't know what being hit by the book is, you know, I suggest you spend some time on Urban Dictionary. But like, just being charged unnecessarily, you know, in an area that doesn't, you know, that just really doesn't care about you. You know, they're really just trying to, you know, I guess, I don't know, you know, I'm not going to speak to their agenda, but at the end of the day, I remember that next day I was back at Finish Line like, yo, what up? I'm back. You know, I don't need no time off. I'm ready to get to work. You know, if there's no management available, where can I fit in? I'm an associate. I'm going to grind. And, you know, I think I was there 3 months before I was back in management.
I was about to say, it wasn't long before you got promoted.
Yeah, and then it was like, it was back to the hustle. And the hustle was, you know, let's get this money. You know, me and B, like, we were just like, we had some fun times, you know,
great times.
Running those stores. We were definitely the unorthodox managers out of the team of managers, but we did shit our way, and it worked out always.
Oh, and the associates loved us.
Yeah.
Like leading, I would say like leading, you guys led well. Like you knew how to actually influence people without telling them to do something. Like and that's a skill in itself, managing people.
Yeah.
I like
yeah.
the lead by example approach.
Yeah.
Like I would literally, if shirts needed to be folded, I'd literally pull it out, start
That's
folding
real
them,
shit.
and then as somebody sees me doing it, I'll be like, yo,
Yeah.
take over this. I gotta go over here. I was more of a lead by example.
Yeah, I definitely think, and where I'm at today, I always preach to everybody, leadership and management are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
And, you really understanding, like, I'm not here to be a dictator. I'm not here to take over the world. And I think why it worked so well for us was because we weren't greedy. It was like we had a common goal. We understood that we wanted to make the most money, but I'm not making the most money if he isn't eating, if you weren't over there active, if you weren't holding down the woman's wall or the kids wall, or understanding how to hustle that section while I'm over hustling the $200 sneaker that's come out. Everybody wants to sell the $200 sneaker, but do you have the skill set to sell the $200 sneaker?
Yeah.
And the humbleness of being over there on that kids wall, you learning how to like sell a $60 pair of shoes for some kid that's going to tear it up, and understanding how to like speak to that parent to really convert that, because kids are just going up looking at colors, and you thinking like, dang man, like I'm working off a commission selling $50 shoes. I'm never doing anything over here. And it's the people that learn how to survive and eat that. So when they work their way over to that $200 sneaker, you now know how to sell the whole tracksuit that came out, the socks, the shoes,
and that's when you
fit
make
it.
money, that upsell.
Yeah. And that's what it was all about. The learning and us all being a family and us always collaborating and us always being the best. Like we were always a top store. We always held ourselves to high standards and we had fun. So it was all Gucci.
Yeah, shout out to Finish Line Store 22 for holding it down for all them years.
Those are some of the best times of my life.
I'm telling you. And like Max said, like it wasn't even work. It was like us just going to hang out and like we're gonna go hustle some shoes. Like it was cool. Definitely. And you said, parents look at jobs like that as always just a retail, like dead-end job. And, they are kind of right. But it's making the most of that opportunity. And there's so much that we learned even as sales associates, and then even more as being managers and leaders. You learn everything from setting up displays to the marketing aspect to upselling, like, all right, let me hook you up with a pair of socks on top of them shoes, or definitely the leadership management. I have a couple more. Target markets, you know what I mean? You know who's going in for what. You recognize that. There's so much to, and that's just in retail, you know what I mean? You could literally look at anything like even fast food. I'm sure there's a lot of takeaways from it. I never worked fast food, but I worked at Hoss's Steak and Seafood. That was my first job. And there was a lot I took from that, just being a host or working the salad bar. And then one thing I took from that was you stink at night leaving. So I got up out of there and I went to JCPenney's.
I think that was a reason why that was never really for me, because it was like I couldn't bear that. Like I don't want to go somewhere where I don't mind eating and then being that person and be like, oh, I can't go there because I just got to work. It's like, why? If you actually work there, if anything, that should be the place you want to go, because you know everything, the ins and the outs of what that experience is like. But to Finish Line, I would definitely say all the experiences have been seasons and chapters in my life, and I've taken something from each of those experiences, from taking how to manage and deal with customers and how they want their food and how they want their groceries bagged, and that grocery store experience, understanding that allowing people to be right, allowing people to want what they want, and being able to follow through to those asks, and just treating people like humans. That really humanized me as as having a lot of respect for elders, older people that are in the grocery stores, and how particular they are, and being patient with them, all the way to the single mothers who are just buying up everything in the store, and you just trying to help them out, carrying their groceries to the car, doing whatever they could, and just doing the most and feeling satisfied with that and having fun while doing it. I took that over to Finish Line, and then being able to, I could say, Finish Line, and like I told you in high school, I was a part of DECA. That really shaped how I thought about networking and what networking even meant at the time, to where when I was at Finish Line, which was a proud sponsor at the time, which was great because they really supported us and allowed to give us that opportunity to learn business and learned about how people experience things. Like he was talking about the planograms of like what we're selling in the upcoming season, how to sell stuff, product knowledge, customer service. I am so hard on people now. If you work at Best Buy, you better be the best damn product knowledge. You better know
Everything.
everything. I'm that person that I get so mad when I go in the store and I'm not greeted as soon as I walk into the store.
Facts.
I need to be greeted. I need to feel. Talk to me nice.
Yeah.
Like,
because I want to buy something.
yo, I'm about to spend money and I want to be an informed customer. I want to know what the hell I'm buying. And I know that's how we took Finish Line. It's like, yo, I got some shit for you that isn't even out that's going to do this, this, and this. It's like, how are you going to say no to that?
Yeah.
That
was a big thing that they pushed on us is making sure every customer was greeted. And, looking back now, I see the importance of that because you're right. You go into some stores, you're like, do they even notice me?
Yeah.
Like,
do they
I'm here,
even
I'm a
know how to
customer.
help me? I talked to somebody the other day about something and asked him a question about the products that he was selling. He just showed me like two and he's like, oh, you can pick between the two. I was informed about the product and I'm like, so which one would you recommend for X? Dude's like, oh, I don't know. Like, let me get on Google. And he was half passively checking Google. And this guy works as a Geek Squad guy at Best Buy. And
oh,
it's
that's
like,
crazy.
Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, like who wants to be a part of something that you're not taking serious? Rather that's like rapping, that's, owning a taco truck. Like, take this shit seriously. You are your opportunity. If that was a banner that could go up right now in the virtual space, it would be like, you are your opportunity and your control of who you show up as. Nobody sees your insecurities. Nobody sees your intelligence. You could be the dumbest person, but work at McDonald's and really understand and learn how that system works and make millions of dollars and be a franchise owner.
I tried to get a job at Best Buy when we first got one, and they wouldn't hire me, and I was so pissed because I'd walk in there and know everything, like, so much more than the people that work there.
Yeah.
Because I'm an electronics nerd, so I'm like...
Yeah. Chad's like, they're haters.
And when I worked at Target, they did the same shit to me. I like...
Yeah,
they
it's
put
a
me
popularity contest.
They put me in the electronics department, like a couple times, and I'd fucking kill it. I sold, like, the... I guess he was, like, the... I don't know... top guy at our store, like a camera. Like, he came back to me and was like, hey, which camera should I buy? And I walked him through everything. And the fucking dude, like the top dude that Target bought the camera that I told him to buy, and they still put me on cash register up front. I'm like, fuck y'all.
Yeah. And that's what really drove me at Finish Line. I remember this opportunity. This is about that 8th year. We were all in management, and I think during this time you were going through grad school. You were on your way out, focusing on grad school. They had just shipped you out to like another store. You was out getting shipped out to Martinsburg, and I knew that call was coming towards me of being like, yo, they about to like make you pivot, because in that structure and that model, they were transitioning into, they don't want people there forever. They don't want you kind of sitting around being complacent. They either want you to be promoted and move forward, or take moves, even if they're lateral, or, get the hell out because, a new administration, new administrations were coming in every 4 years.
There was some high turnover.
So
I don't want to say high turnover.
It was in management, but it was every like 3 to 4 years. It was a different type of management style, and a lot of egos from those people that were there before you didn't last because they weren't ever able to adapt. And what made us so valuable is we could always adapt to those situations because it wasn't personal.
Yeah.
They ended up starting to make on our back end of our careers there is they started to make the Winchester store a training hub for managers, and like you said, they wanted to promote them, so it was either store manager or bust.
Yeah.
And I think we all decided to part ways, which segues into my next thing. So coming from Finish Line to where they got 1,000 stores or hundreds of stores.
Yeah, they were the store at that time. They were upcoming store. They were the upcoming shoe store because Foot Locker was holding down the basketball and all of that. Finish Line was trying to get into that, even though they were selling the products. They didn't have that, like that the streets
appeal.
Respect
They
and
had that
appeal.
appeal, yeah.
But so you or we transitioned from Finish Line, thousands of stores in their company, to Shink and Tittle, which is under 20 stores. kind of had a little bit more reign over the store, so to speak. A little more freedom, I should say. You know, Finish Line, there's plans and displays and everything's got to be to a T, whereas at Shink and Tittle we kind of had a little more of our vision being projected. Tell us a little bit about the difference and, you know, how that was transitioning.
Yeah, like, and I appreciate through all of this, I could very easily be the person to give you the answers that you're asking for right immediately. But walking through memory lane, I like to take the long ways through the park.
Cool.
Walking around the fence before we walk through, trying to look for that best hole to cut through. But yeah, like that definitely is a good transition, because I think the transition and how I found that opportunity was the best transition. You know, understanding I went through 8 years of different management, seeing people come and go, networking and being cool with everybody. There was people before me that were leaving, going to different places, and we were always like, nah, we kind of see ourselves as this prestigious cash cow. This is, I feel like, honestly, it was one of the department stores. It was Victoria's Secret. It was the what was it? Hollister.
Oh yeah, Hollister.
It was Hollister, or it was Hollister, Victoria's Secret, and then it was Finish Line. If you weren't working in one of those stores, you weren't doing shit in the mall. You know, you wanted to get into one of those stores, but like it was just like once you were in, we knew. I was confident I was at the best store in the mall.
Fact.
To where like I'm not gonna mess this up, and I'm not even gonna let you into this club unless you fit. You know, if I could legitimately vouch for you, and you know you could really do some things, because we it wasn't everybody came there as the first place to apply to because they thought it was easy, but you know it's not cut out for everybody, and we would weed those people out with the quickness. But that transition of being at a top corporate store, even a spot that held a lot of brand value all over corporately, I remember having a discussion right when they shipped you off to Martinsburg with the district manager, because my call was coming, and I'm like, I don't want to move. Like it was almost that time where I was about to get traded, and it was like, I'm not going. Like that's not what I want. That's not. Like that ain't it. Like now we got to find another way. I feel like it's talking in sports analogies. You feeling like a star player that is now old, and they're trying to ship you off for nothing. And it's like, dog, I help. If you want to make me a manager and I want to run something, let me run the spot that I'm familiar with. Why you got to ship me off to do that? And I remember talking to the manager. He's like, well, you got to have these experiences being in different places. It's like, what happens if you don't want that? And I remember that was at the first time to where I was excited because that district manager, I mean, not having a lot of experience being in the Winchester area, I didn't see a lot of black people in upper management. He was a district manager that was in charge of a lot of different stores, and I thought that there was that connection there of being like, yo, man, like, what's up? I'm trying to get rich like you. And it was like, nah, this isn't an opportunity, in trying to show tough love. But what that did was create separation of being like, you got to work hard to get here. And it's like, you know what? I want more than you. You know, it was at that opportunity. I remember having a conversation where it's like, yo, screw being a store manager. I want to work for corporate. How do I get to Indianapolis? How do I get here? Because I have so many ideas of how this stuff works. And, you know, I've got 8 years of experience here. How do I get over here? Oh, well, you got to be a store manager first. Why? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. And I got to like move to an even harder store and struggle even harder after starting from the bottom, and now I'm here. Like, nah, I'm good. And because I said no to accepting what they looked at as an opportunity, but to me it was a lateral move that created no stimulation or opportunity. It was like, you know what? I'll take a pay cut. I'll find something else. I'll hold on to, you know what, I'll just stay here, and, you know, you can give that opportunity to somebody else. They cut my hours short, being like, oh, okay, this person, you know, doesn't want to get with the new wave of how we're doing these things. These person's out. Like, literally, I went from a manager clocking 40 hours one week to that next Sunday having 6 hours on the schedule, and being like, damn, I just got like a downtown apartment. Like, I got like bills and stuff. Like, after 8 years, this is kind of what this looks like. Yeah. This isn't like what my dad said of working for a company for 25 years and getting a gold watch. You know, I got to look out for what I need and what I want. and one of my boys, shout out Mr. Phil Good.
Yeah.
That's actually his name too. That's not like,
And he did used to work at Finish Line.
yeah. He
manager.
created. He was always somebody who was like that step ahead of me when I was, one of those senior associates, so to speak. He was that manager. When I got the manager, he moved up to the next opportunity. And I remember he had left the company and came back and was working at a small mom and pop shop, essentially selling sports goods. I would say one of those Dick's Sporting Goods before its time. And he was like, yo, bro, I'm about to leave. I got an opportunity. This is here. And I remember you and I were chilling in the store, and I'm like, yo, he just kind of gave me this opportunity. What should I do? It's like, I don't know. What you feeling? And I'm like, we never really seen ourselves leaving Finish Line. We thought that like this was it. We were going to work our ways to the top.
We was trying to co-run that joint.
Well, yeah, we were trying to find a way to get to Florida because that was the store where they had dual managers. Mm-hmm. And we're like, how can we, run this from a larger lens and really collaborate and work together and doing stuff. Mm-hmm. And it was like, I told them on Wednesday, like, thanks, but no thanks. This isn't for me. And I remember they saying, the manager at the time, she was an awful person. She was like, oh, I figured that you would be, leaving soon, considering the fact that this same person gave me 6 hours on the schedule after like claiming to be my friend, understanding all the struggles and everything that I did to survive, to cut me how they did with no notice, because of ego reasons and because they had their new Mean Girls table of who could sit with them and who couldn't, and because they didn't like how we kind of showed up or really didn't want to embrace, us not conforming the way that they wanted us to conform. I texted, Mr. Feelgood, and I'm like, yo, what up, man? Like, this is what I'm on. They're like, come over. I interviewed, I think that same afternoon. After that, I remember I was walking back in the mall that Sunday after 8 years of being at a company, leaving. I think I took like a 3-day vacation after 8 years of working at this company, mind you. Left the job, starting a new job on Sunday that was right across the hall from them. And when they saw me walking in the mall, I didn't come in with my shirt. I came in and their eyes were getting all big, like, yo, why is he in the mall before the mall's opening? What is he in here, trying to do? Trying to make a scene, walking right behind them, pulling the keys out to a brand new place. Mind you, Finish Line, you had to work there for like 3 years to get keys. I'm going in as a new manager, and all the manager did when he gave me the keys is like, don't fuck this up, and you got an opportunity to, we love what you did over there. Now come make your own over here. And that was for the first time that I learned what it looks like in corporate America and what it looks like from the small business front of being able to see your opportunity develop, you being able to experience things good and bad with products, bringing in products, watching them sell, because you can influence your inventory. You can influence the vibe of the store. Before I got there, it was just kind of like a skater store that sold sporting supplies and sporting goods with, guys that were very like passive salespeople that didn't really talk to you when you went in there. I don't want to take ownership of saying I went in and cleared house, but I had the opportunity and influence management, and I brought in all my friends, all those same people from Finish Line that I knew what roles they played and how they showed up and how I had a vision of being that top store at that company in that district. Being able to pull that rabbit out of the hat and bringing my friends in and being like, look, I know you did all of this over here, but this is just what I need you to do here, and we're going to be great. One of the biggest sales that took some time was selling you on that opportunity. It took some time, but me being that salesperson being like, yo, man, what's up?
Just staying in
like,
his
what
ear.
up, man? Like, staying in his ear.
He was persistent.
Like, I'm gonna sell you, man. And I seen the vision, and it was like, yo, let's come through. Like, we can build some things. I know you were going to school at the time. It was like, look, Brent, like, we can't be loyal to this company anymore. We can't be loyal to this company. They haven't really given us nothing. They haven't really given us opportunity, and we're not really making money. Like, let's go over here and create something for ourselves and, see how that works. And we ended up, clearing house, building a new name for that store. We created a diverse sports market selling jerseys from the teams you didn't see in your local markets, which was like the first that you really didn't see often, of being able to buy the Kickers jersey from the Seahawks
Yeah.
in the store. It was like you weren't seeing that everywhere.
Yeah.
And being able to start catering to what the customers' needs were, because I saw that at Finish Line, and being at Finish Line, understanding that it was like, look, our customers want black Air Force Ones. Stop sending us these janky-ass lookalikes and send us Air Force Ones.
Indie lows.
But the corporate office was like, you're not an urban enough market to sell these shoes.
Yep.
And being like, fuck that. How are you going to tell me what my customers want? I know my customers better than anybody.
Yeah.
And being able to go to Shink and Tilda and being like, look, this is what our customers need. We have a large market of Dolphins fans in Virginia. Why? I don't know.
But
But
we
get
do.
us product and we'll sell the shit.
Yeah.
And it got to the point that we were selling every single trinket and paraphernalia with Dolphins merchandise, Cowboys merchandise, Ravens merchandise. We had everything. And then on the other side of the store, we're selling stuff like in-depth snowboards, $2,000 snowboard setup, the best ski and snow performance jackets that you could find in the town that were $500, that people are looking at saying Shink and Tittle is expensive. Before I got there, but then going to Shink and Tittle, understanding that this is a precision sports store, that these people are going to go on and know how to sell you because they're familiar with the product knowledge. We took that stuff so seriously at Finish Line, and the team that I was bringing in, we weren't Googling stuff. We were like, yo, we can get this for you. We might not even make money off of it, because you want to keep business local and because you're such a great customer. Let me call our buyer really quickly and get that in for you. And that did nothing for us, but we were all in it for the people.
Built a relationship. That person's going
Facts.
to come back to your store every single time they need something.
Facts.
Yep.
And it became from selling skate apparel and having all this dope skate apparel, getting Nike SBs into a suburban market. To have an influence on doing that was amazing.
Yeah.
Talking about, look, this is what we need, and bringing that in and having a couple releases that sold and being able to own that. That was so dope when nobody understood the sneaker industry. You know, we are transitioning from a time where all of us was there for that Concord release that changed sneakers. But then from there, the sneaker industry, it had a little buzz. That was a little bubble that popped. But people didn't understand what it was and what that culture was. And that culture lived in every single
Facet.
every single facet. You know, you had the skate community, what that looks like. They had the hiking community and what top brands and hiking boots and what that looked like. And, you know, understanding product knowledge got us a long way because we took our job seriously. You know, if you're going to be a hustler, you got to know what you're selling.
100%.
Shink and Tittle's where me and Malcolm met.
Oh,
Hell
snap.
yeah.
All that skate shit. I spent so much money on that
yeah,
motherfucker.
yeah, that was where it was at, you know, and it was fun. It was definitely fun. It was a great experience of like all of that. I even remember the same district manager that told me, you know, well, you're not going to cut it here. Him coming over to our store, seeing how we were doing things, and they were laughing because we were playing hip hop music. We were throwing the football in the store, having fun, interacting with our customers, riding on the longboard throughout the store, creating fun opportunities. This is before Finish Line, mind you, was playing hip hop in their stores because they realized that you could connect to an audience in music that wasn't mainstream. Like, we were doing all of that stuff because we were able to understand what trends look like and what people want. And to have that freedom and opportunity, shout out Josh Donald, all those people at Shink and Tittle while they were open that created that opportunity for us because it was like, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Josh Movin, he was my manager that, you know, provided the ropes and gave me the opportunity to just do me. He'd be like, just like I said, don't fuck anything up.
Yep.
He moved with a sink or swim mentality, and he trusted us even when we messed up. He supported us in showing us, like, you know, it's all good, man. Like, we'll figure it out. But, like, in that, we were able to learn for ourselves rather than at Finish Line. There was only one way how to do things in a handbook. And if you didn't do that, you know.
It's a wrap.
Yeah, it's a wrap. So it was a great opportunity and took that opportunity and ran with it. Learned how to build teams, learned relationship building through vendors, learning what the value of brand names and sponsorships, and understanding the best brands aren't always the best product. Truck Fit taught me that.
Yeah, right. Oh, God.
We got that in.
They
you
literally
know?
did that just
that,
because of
that
Wayne.
line bombed, and really it was just
terrible.
like experience and failure, being like, can somebody like Lil Wayne that has such large corporate influence, how can this product tank? And like really being able to own like, well, not everything works out. I'm sure he lost a lot of coin. For me, it just felt some kind of way of like, damn,
Like
I
took
really
a
put
little
my neck
L.
out for you, man, and
Yeah.
I took that. I took that loss, bro. Like that wasn't cool, but it was
Yeah.
it was opportunity. Like we couldn't have told Finish Line to bring in Truck Fit. They wouldn't have listened.
Right.
They would have took that and threw it in the trash and kind of kept it moving. So
Mm-hmm.
it was all great opportunities, and
Wayne-
I cherish that.
Wayne's problem was he was posting videos of him skating, so all the skaters were like, "Nah, he's a fucking poser. I ain't
I
buying
was
that shit."
about to say that.
That's
It
exactly
wasn't
what happened.
authentic.
That's what I
Mhm.
said. I said, I ain't buying this
He
shit.
wasn't
This ain't skate
authentic.
shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely wasn't authentic.
Yeah.
Staying
Yeah,
true
but
to
now
that
you look
brand.
at it, he's been skating for, 10 plus years now. Looking back, do you consider him a skater or a poser still?
Poser.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I don't care either way.
I
It doesn't
would,
hurt my
I would have
feelings.
to see it. I would have to see it to believe it. But at the end of the day, sometimes his bars, you can't deny that he don't know what he's talking about. And I even appreciate that. You could be a fan of it that's just out here doing your own little thing.
Yeah.
And he wasn't trying to, he was just representation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wayne provided representation that hip hop artists can do other things. They can play the guitar, they can skateboard, they can do whatever the hell they want,
Right.
and that's okay. And every hip hop artist doesn't have to be in the Beamer, Benz, or Bentleys.
Skaters are just hard on people.
Yeah,
That's how they are. They're like,
it's cool though,
Yeah.
But Wayne brought a different type of skater. The skaters, along the lines of what Kareem Campbell brought to the skate industry of wearing chains, bringing hip hop in a different type of culture to it, and made his own lane. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's cool about it. Because if you're not gonna let me in my club, I'm gonna create my own.
Right. Was Truck Fit Wayne's, or was he just the face of
It was
Truck
Wayne's.
Fit?
I think it
Wayne's.
was
Wayne's.
It was.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It might have done better if people didn't know that.
Well, that's what I'm
Like
also thinking.
if like
Maybe they actually
it
got
did-
some actual skaters.
yeah, like they made a team.
Or
They had a
pro
team. Like,
skaters.
I mean, look at Ice Cream.
Yeah.
Ice Cream was a skate. They had a skate team.
Right,
and,
right.
You know?
They went about it the right way rather than just putting a face to it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so unfortunately, the days of Shink and Tittle came to a close a lot sooner than we wanted to. I ended up moving to Colorado. Matt kicked it here for a little bit, but then made the move to Chicago. And talk to us a little bit about that, the opportunity, and essentially making the decision to leave your hometown that you've been in. Not hometown, but, town that you've been living in.
Yeah. So like everything, we're gonna take the long walk.
We took the long walk last time, but go ahead, G.
So Shink and Tittle, I think what businesses showed me, especially in retail, that it was limited. And that's why I'd never wanted to really move forward with Finish Line in management, because I felt like I was a man stuck in a cave that people visited all the time. I remember saying that because people would come back from college on holidays when I'm working, I'm grinding, and looking at it as, oh, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And they just see this same person that's been in the same cave for 8 years really not growing. Well, little did they know, I'm learning, I'm doing all these things behind the scenes. And it wasn't all about what I was showing and what I was doing.
Yeah.
I didn't care. But I realized, like, this is not what I want. Like, there's more out here, and I can only, like, stoop kid is afraid to leave his stoop.
Yeah.
Like this was comfortable, and like I wanted to affect more outside of retail. Retail to me was dying. I think the last year I was in retail was the last year working on Thanksgiving was optional, and that really was important to me. Spending Thanksgiving with family, no matter what it is. And I'm a Cowboys fan. I'm watching a game on Thanksgiving. I'm not like, I don't got time for all of that.
Yeah, to be forced into working.
Yeah, so like Shink and Tittle, being a small business that wasn't really structured to adapt, they were only focused on serving the local customer, not really creating a digital presence in an age where online shopping was about to boom. They got killed. They got destroyed. And if it wasn't for us and a couple of other stores keeping them afloat, they would have died a long time before us. But when they died with us as still a successful, profitable store,
I
which
think
was
we
crazy.
were one of like 3 out of the 15
That
that
were
were left.
profitable.
Yeah. And we could have continued. We said if we made $1 million, like, and I could work at, I would still go back. I would reopen Shingenton. I would work at that spot. The connection to the community, being able to service all different types of customers, from the hikers, the fishers, and getting them the latest and greatest Oakleys, to like the super fan that wanted all the memorabilia before. What is the sports fanatics and all of them
Yep.
existed.
Oh, yeah.
Like doing that servicing that kind of customer, being able to buy sports equipment and not having before, like, Dick's was really serving the local community. We've been there, we've done that before everybody else got to it. We got to it first, and people found an opportunity. People with more money found an opportunity to make money off of the blueprint we created. So I knew I needed to move forward. I really didn't have a choice in that. I remember we were living good. We got a severance package. It was the first time, like, as a single bachelor, getting a severance package, living a pretty comfortable lifestyle, because, I didn't do too much besides work and kind of hang out, drink, play video games.
Yeah.
And, I was always doing other things behind the scenes, like having fun. But, I was always looking for that next opportunity, and transition to, like, getting into digital marketing. I got into digital marketing as an outside sales rep. So that was very different than working retail, because being stuck inside in a mall all day, to having the free range as a sales rep, saying this is your region, this is your area to service. And I was back in the DMV area, driving anywhere from to Northern Virginia to DC, selling one truck plumbers, people I'm sitting in traffic with on 66, calling the side of their truck being like, yo, what up? You need a website? How are you marketing? How are you doing these things? It really transitioned trends and my business understanding to understanding how to really make money and how businesses work behind the scenes. Really being able to talk to these business owners that, like, knew their business like the back of their hat and can guarantee you that they were the best in the business, but just being able to understand how to show up and how to service them as, as a customer, and learning that through marketing. It was great. It was a great experience. It was experience to where I met a lot of different people. I had the opportunity to travel, made a lot of good business connections. One of my most valuable success stories that I tell in interviews today, they ask you to tell a successful story about yourself. I had 2 clients at the digital marketing agency. One was a local guy. He was like a snowboarder that had a pool company.
Yeah.
He had a small pool company where he just did maintenance on local people's pools throughout the area. He worked all summer so he could spend his money and his earnings to go out and snowboard all winter. And I thought it was like that was a great model. And I told this guy to trust me, because he's like, look, man, I ain't got like $500 a month. Like, that's a lot for me to invest in marketing. Like, I just go off of word of mouth and him trusting me to grow his business. And I got him contracts through, like, Google AdWords. Like, we're going to need to, like, put definitions of all these, like, drops. But Google AdWords, selling Google placement, understanding Google before Google was Google, but, like, it wasn't what it was now. They weren't servicing the small business owner. Right. There was opportunity, but you had to learn it.
Right.
And it was my job to teach and service these people, and, getting them on the internet, getting them that presence and identity online, so people could find them when they were the first thing. When people type certain things, they were popping up. Oh, I want to be number 1 on Google. How do I get that? It's like, yo, step into my office. Let's go into this McDonald's real quick, and talk some business.
You ever heard of SEO?
Yeah, word. And just giving them the whole run through. But now it's like people are learning SEO in high school. And it's just like, I appreciate my generation so much, because I went from understanding what life was like when Nintendo came out to understanding what life was like when dial-up internet hit and what AOL Instant Messenger did to the game. Like, I understand that the growth in tech of just being like somebody that I'm the master. I love experience. I love to be like, I want to experience this in my way without having to read what the direction was. I was that kid that would get a video game and probably get to the last level before I looked at the instruction manual, or beat something and one of my friends coming over and be like, there was a shortcut to that. You're like, no shit. Like, I was somebody that I always just immersed myself in experience, and I would teach myself. And like, I always knew what the games were missing and lacking, and I appreciated those great franchises throughout the generations that continued to build, that told a story and showed growth and improving and catering to the customer. And that was always something dope to me. So like, after Shank and Tittle, and I got that severance, and I was sitting around, and then I was working at the marketing company, I was learning about business. I got this dude huge contracts with, or I started to get him contracts with like hotels, like Holiday Inns were calling this local guy that was servicing, neighborhoods. He was just like, people know me by the neighborhood now, like Holiday Inns are calling him, schools, like local parks are asking him to service these things, and he's getting all these jobs. And he was bragging about it like, yo, thank you. And I ended up getting big. He helped make my career in marketing to where for the first time I forgot about one of my best customers, one of my first customers that helped me get started. And I remember he called and he checked me, he cussed me out one day. And this fancy lunch, I became somebody that was eating Subway and McDonald's at lunch to eating, my thing was eating steak salads, like up in Fairfax, just chilling, having that midday work beer, that craft beer, trying and seeing what that was like. And I remember he cussed me out. He cussed me something good. And what it told me is like, yo, I'm quitting with you because you forgot about me. And it's like, no, I got you, bro. Like, I understand you. I can show that empathy, and I got you. I went through, I fixed the things that needed to be fixed. And I also told him, I was like, yo, if you can quit, you can always quit, but I'm always going to hold you down. And I'm always kind of going to, look out in your best interest. And that's genuine. When I do business with anybody, all the business, any person in this room that knows me, how we've always done business. And it's just like, I'm not greedy. If I eat, we all eat. You know what I'm saying? If you give me this chance, or you take time and be patient with me, I'll make sure, I'm confident that I'm going to give that back ×5. And like, I did just that, and bumping into somebody randomly, I was about to leave the marketing company. I was on one of these, like, I wanted to spend time after that customer experience building my book of business from within, rather than building a book of businesses. I started this company with no clients, and the game in sales is to get as many clients as you can, because with the most clients, the more money you got. I then realized after I got cussed out is like, only having 30 customers is just as good as this guy having 100 customers, because these 100 customers, he's got to maintain 100 customers because they're always canceling. These 30 customers with me, I'm just going in every 6 months asking them to spend more money with me, and they trust me, and they're around, and they're just holding me accountable to the things that I'm working towards. Yeah. So I always under promised and over delivered with my clients, rather than being the sales guy trying to talk a slug into selling him salt, and telling the slug that it was going to do all these great things from them, to where it's like, I understood I was selling salt to a slug and it was going to do this, but I was also going to be transparent in everything and how I did business. And if it benefited me, I was going to let it know it benefited me, and I was going to show you how it benefited you. And this guy, I randomly, I think on my last 30 days of working with this company, ran into some huge corporate pool supplier that was like, yo, like, I don't need help with marketing or business, or however I got this contact, and was talking to this guy. He's like, shoot, I got all these small business opportunities that I can't even service. We say no to business. I'm like, hold that thought. Like, I got a guy that's out in the northern, he services the other side of the Appalachian, out in the other side of the Blue Ridge Mountains, and he's servicing more rural suburban areas, but he's trying to get out here. And he's somebody that is really only got business to last him half the year, because he's not doing pool construction. He's like, yo, hook it up, like, give me that contact. Called my guy, and I'm like, look, man, I got this opportunity for you, and I'm going to keep calling your phone until you answer, because I'm not trying to sell you anything. The guy immediately called me back like, yo, what's up? And I built this relationship, and the rest is history for them, because he got to collaborate with a large corporate company that restructured his business that he started for himself just to support his snowboarding habits. Now he's supporting his family in a way that he wasn't able to support his family. I did the same thing with a guy who was buying antique vehicles. He was trying to sell antique vehicles. He was a car broker. I never even knew that this was a freaking job.
I remember this.
And I ran into this guy, and the guy was an exotic car buyer that he would go to old people and people that just had these old antique cars and buy them off them and then resell them, flip them. You know what I'm saying? He was already negotiating a deal of like, he knew what cars to look out for. And it was almost like those hidden treasure shows. He was just going door to door finding these people. But it's very hard to do that business. He was somebody who was buying 2 to 3 vehicles a month. And he was trying to do things of like selling cars off of Google and stuff like that. But he's like, yo, I'm spending like $5,000 a month and marketing is BS. Like, this is getting me nowhere. I'm damn sure ain't giving you money. And I'm like, well, work with me here. Like, meet me halfway. I can make you money.
Yeah.
I was doing everything because I was persistent, calling this guy back, being like, yo, what up, man? Like, yo, talk to me a little bit. Like, what's going on with business? Because I had a genuine interest in the business. You know, he specialized in buying Porsches. And talking to him about that, I'm like, yo, I have a database through my company that we can reach out and like target and identify these people. He's like, so you mean to tell me you can get access to DMV dashboards to be able to service stuff? I'm like, yeah, all public records I can get access to, and this is how we do target marketing. And target marketing, I can sell you, okay, granted, you don't want to give me $5,000 a month to spend on Google. With, mind you, small business owners, that's not a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? If you really know how to make the stocks work for you or make Google work for you, you invest that money, you're going to see it back double and triple. So for those people that think they're only putting $200-$300 servicing, you know, their online presence, you know, you're not doing shit. Sorry. But back to the story of being like, you know what? Give me $500. Give me this opportunity. It's I'm not going to do a contract with you. I want to do an online digital mailer. I want to send everybody targeted mail to a database of all these people that have a car from the year of this date to this date and these type of vehicles in North Carolina, Virginia, and whatever. We sent 1,500 flyers out. He called me back the end of that month because I hadn't heard from him. I got busy. And I'm like, yo, man, okay, I sent these flyers out. These flyers have gone out. Like, what's your thought after 30 days? He's like, Mac, I sold 30 cars. I bought 30 cars last month. I'm like, what the hell? Like, oh, yeah. I mean, I knew that was going to happen. Like, yo, we're in here. This is what we doing. Like, let's make some money. That was an opportunity that I loved, that I gambled and understood that people, my job, the money was in digital. You know, everybody was selling online advertising and understanding what is my person's need. He needs to get in front of an older audience that's older antique vehicles, and those people aren't on Google trying to figure out how to sell their cars.
Yeah, they're not.
So understanding that, again, this is something that I learned from Finish Line. This is something I learned early on at the grocery store. This is something that we perfected at Shink and Tittle. It's like, yo, understanding that user's needs and launching from there. And I really got into digital. I really got passionate on designing websites, designing what the flyers needed to look like, because we were freaking working for this company, you know. One thing that they laid their hat on was them being American legacy brand, them being a phone book that everybody could identify with, and they were now the internet of that directory before directories were coming out. And like, something that I took away from that is like, yo, if you don't adapt, bro, you're not going to survive. And like, this is not sustainable to be selling BS product to people just because just to hang your name on, oh, this is another one of our products.
To do things.
Exactly. And from that, I got into having to, after I'm selling a story, because all sales is painting a niche, creating a narrative, telling that story, painting the picture of showing empathy of that user, telling that you could speak to those business needs, and being able to show how we could solve this through this story. And it came easy. I could talk this shit all day, you know, like really understanding how to hustle now, being somebody who was hustling in college, being somebody that was hustling at the grocery store, that I could hustle these business owners of being like, look, you know, I'm going to hustle you, but it's going to benefit you. You're going to trust me even when you don't want to trust me. I'm going to make you make you do business with me in one way or another. And I realized when I was selling these stories, my stories were coming up short on the development side of things, because we were selling websites, and then they would get delivered a website, and the website would be, the branding would be red and green, which is also awful branding. I don't know why I thought of those colors being together, but like they would paint something that was like fluorescent green and black, and didn't identify with the brand at all, just because it was just a popular theme or template to just sell a customer.
So you're saying like you were really good at telling people like, look, I can give you this place, I can build this place for you, but the company was so old that the way they built it, it was like if their customer went there, it wouldn't connect with them.
Yeah, it was just like this wasn't a part of my brand, and they're mad at me, and I'm mad now because my name is on this product, regardless of what I'm selling, regardless of what I'm doing. My name is on this product, and it's got to be the best product. Yeah, that's something I've always held my hat on. People ask, a lot of people now will call me bougie just because I'm very particular about products and like the things that I use and I associate myself with, because I'm with quality, functionality, and that brand. You know, what is that brand really standing for? And, you know, I will spend the extra money solely for that because I trust this brand. I'm not the person that's going to run to Amazon and spend $20 less just because it's on Amazon. Mm-hmm. You know, if my person is, you know, giving me the best deal, I mean, if it's the same product, you know, that's different. But, you know, when I know what I'm looking for as a quality informed shopper, and I always want to make sure whatever I'm hustling delivers that same impact to people. And
that was making you mad.
Yeah, you were I was offended. Like, yo, I'm selling these websites, and this is what these websites are looking like. So I'm taking the time refacing and redesigning these websites instead of making cold calls, doing this stuff, satisfying my customers. And it just didn't connect well with, you know, my management, because they're like, this is a sales company, you're not a tech guy. And I'm like, okay, well, what does it take to be a designer? What does it take to work for the people that are making this? Oh, you got to be out in California, and you got to like do all of this stuff. And like, this isn't the vertical. You almost have to leave this company and reapply to get in on that side. And I'm like, well, what sense does that make? You know, this really isn't for me.
You outgrow every situation.
That's kind of what happens, you know. It's stimulation, you know, understanding that hunger for more. Lloyd Banks, bro, that was a CD. That Hungry for More. There was some heat on that. Yeah. But like, I always am like, I know when I'm ready to move forward. Yeah. Like, I don't like taking on more than I can chew, but I always am ready to let somebody know and speak up for my needs of being like, okay, it's time to turn up the heat. It's time to go, you know, put myself a new opportunity. And that opportunity presented itself with like designing. You know, I found this craft that I was already doing for small businesses. I'm like, how can I talk about this in interviews to get these jobs? How do people get these creative jobs? Yeah. It's not going to art school, and it damn sure can't be going to college for this shit, because I was at college and who was doing this? You know what I'm saying? I wasn't going to, I went to computer science, but computer science was computer lab times 10. This shit isn't interesting on like putting together spreadsheets and understanding how Microsoft Excel works and all of these other things work. It was just like I needed to create this opportunity for myself. So I found user experience through working for a startup with a guy that I had a really close business relationship with, and somebody I worked at the marketing company who hit on a scratch ticket and was just like, look, you know, I'm about to start a company. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what we spending $60,000 on. I'm with it. Like, let's do it. Like,
sometimes you got to take the gamble.
Let's do it. Yeah. And he envisioned essentially a version of what Snapchat is now, but privately. It was like Snapchat meets YouTube. It was a Let Me Chat feature, or the company's name was like Let Me Chat. Shout out this company because, you know, they're going to rebrand and resurface it, bubble up one day. But Let Me Chat was trying to be a private Snapchat with encrypted messages, almost like WhatsApp and all of these companies, but then also have a Facebook element to where I can record all these videos of my kids' soccer games and all of these things, but private members of my family can view this. Private people can socially engage with this, and it's not blasted all throughout the web because I don't want everybody in my business. I just want a certain type of person involved. And then the overarching epic of the story was great, but like when it came to the details and how how to organize. We weren't the best organized. But what it showed me, I was starting to sit down when we're conceptually speaking, we're sketching stuff out, talking with designers, seeing what they're doing and understanding stuff. And it's like, yo, bro, I'm paying you to do this as a freelancer, but I can do this. Like, I can do this. And how do I get this rep? And, you know, reading and researching. And we always said at the marketing company, if you don't know GTS, and GTS is Google that shit.
Yeah.
Figure it out, you know? That's one of my things now when I'm interviewing, where it's like, yo, what do you do if you don't know something? If they don't answer Google, they're probably not working with me because I'm not here to babysit.
Yeah.
You know, like, find out for yourself, inform yourself. We have all this knowledge. There's just a broad range of being information
Endless
of knowledge.
amount of it out there.
Yeah.
It's the fucking internet.
Bro, you've literally done everything from grocery stores to shoe companies and sporting goods to digital marketing and
And
media.
that's not even where we at now. That's not even the current story.
Like, all right, well,
Yeah.
catch us up to speed with the current and what we got going on now.
Yeah. So, from that opportunity, I just leveraged and found human-centered design, really designing for the person, really selling to the user, and not just putting product out and forcing it down people's throats. Showed all my work, told all my stories, ended up getting a full ride to this boot camp out in Chicago, which was amazing because at the time I was working for Delta Airlines in IT. And IT was literally restarting people's computers and troubleshooting after this marketing job where I was like, yo, I'm trying to be in tech. The only tech opportunity that presented itself was working for another corporate company where I wasn't doing anything that was fun at all, but like internal security, which wasn't my way. But it presented an opportunity. I think I worked for that company for 3 weeks. I had long enough to get a paycheck, and then like I was out to the next. Had an opportunity to go out to Chicago, take this boot camp. Shout out General Assembly. I highly invest if you're a curious, learner that wants to immerse yourself, especially through these times of this pandemic. You're looking to push your technical skills. That was a place that gave me an opportunity, a free opportunity at that, to grow and learn user experience design. And after that, my intentions was to come back to the DC area and get back into work. I left in 2016 because I understood the political climate was changing, the economic climate was changing, and I wanted to, again, always influence this, but I knew what types of jobs that I was going to get, and I wanted to create a job that I felt comfortable in. I wanted to work at a Google, not being all the way out in California. Those exist on the East Coast. I wanted to create those opportunities and be associated with those brands. So Chicago, after that, my success kind of took like wildfire because I was so open to pro bono work and creating opportunities for myself, to where I ended up working at a large digital agency. And from that, I had the opportunity to work on Fortune 500 brands like Caterpillar, where I got to essentially turn their digital online experience into the Tesla of the internet. The people understood the name Caterpillar, but they never understood the technology that Caterpillar had. If you get behind one of those tractors or one of those trucks, the tech that is packed in that muddy thing that's sitting on the side of the road that costs $300,000, you'll be surprised, all the technology and being able to sell that and talk to those users to convert more people and to let everybody else in the industry know that Caterpillar is the best brand out here to be using, and being a part of that team, building that story. A lot of the stuff was conceptual that we never really released to the client, and a lot of that work, hopefully one day it'll show its face and I'll be able to hang my hat on it. But it created another opportunity where a doctor from Northwestern, from my experience and my growth in all of these startups and, these platforms, that I was able to find myself knowing nobody in Chicago, meeting people. It was like it was an image of, really getting sent into a jungle with nothing and walking out that joint with a fur coat, creating that opportunity, hustling, grinding, networking. It was literally like I came out there with a pillowcase of hustle, networking skills, understanding business, understanding what people wanted, and trying to spit my game and talk my shit, and people believing in me. And this doctor from Northwestern gave me that opportunity to he asked me, you know, what's your 5-year plan? It was like, you know, I came into this industry with no experience in creating an opportunity to work at this large corporate company where I'm working on Carnival Cruise Line, Spotify, McDonald's, like all of these opportunities. I'm living, you know, people aren't doing this back where I'm at. Like they're still dreaming about what these opportunities look like. And I've always wanted to speak from the culture and the cultural impact from the corporate level. So I'm on my way there. So I'm at my 5-year plan. I'm trying to figure that out. And he's like, so if I asked you right now, what's next for you then? I'm like, I guess in 5 years you could see myself leading a team, because I've always been a natural leader who operates great in management and, you know, leadership. So definitely being a creative director, leading the direction on a lot of this stuff. But I know right now I'm not there yet. And he said, well, what if I gave you that opportunity? I remember I laughed, joked it off, drank some of my drink, and then looked back at him, and he didn't even blink. And I was like, oh, you being serious? He's like, yeah, let's do like a little, you know, you work for me. I pay you in equity. We can figure some other things out about this growing genetics company. But, you know, I'm going to give you a shot. And, you know, if it works out, when we get funded, you know, you're going to be one of the first people on my team. And, you know, long story short, I always wanted to, you know, be a part of a company, be an owner and associated with the company. But I always thought that was me doing it myself, and being out in Chicago, being out in larger cities, understanding that none of these creatives and none of these artists are doing it alone. Kanye has 30 people that's working on his team. You know, like Pharrell wasn't the only person behind Neptunes that was grinding. You know, there was a team, and it was a small team that, again, knew how to navigate. They knew what they didn't know and who to bring in to help service those needs. And I had that vision, and I was able to come in and, you know, create an opportunity for myself, not knowing shit. You know, I had 2.5, 3 years of industry experience. And I took a job that most companies ask for 8 years experience, but I was so confident in understanding what the job took. It was like, we can figure this out. I mean, how many people have ever drove to a destination and never been there before, but you figured it out? And really followed that logic. And there was times to where I didn't know what the hell was going on in the meeting. But I guarantee after that, taking time to reflect and really thinking about things, I had the skills already to go find out what I needed and how to do it. And, you know, I built a name for myself. You know, I'm really proud of that company. Right now, we're not talking. We're beefing. We're separated temporarily. You know, through COVID, you know, they found an opportunity through COVID to, you know, grow. And it was okay at the time, but they didn't follow the direction of, they just didn't need my services. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
My services weren't needed because they found another way to pivot and grow through the opportunity that this pandemic has created. You know, so through that time, it was very hard. It was a lot of soul searching. But, you know, I look back and I reflect, and it's like, you know, I live in a beautiful high-rise building in a city in the center of the city of Chicago. You know, I did all of this off my own name, merit, and hustle that, you know, nepotism didn't provide me in the small town, never being intimidated by that. Understanding that, you know, I have to create my own legacy. My legacy isn't going to be provided to me in a crest. You know, I'm never going to be one of those trust fund kids, no matter how many times I watch Blank Check and Richie Rich. Like, that was never going to be my life. And I was tired of being that person around people talking about what they wanted to do, but never doing it. Seeing those people when I was in the stores of Finish Line, them coming in and visiting and being like, oh, I'm doing this, this, and this, or I'm about to do these things. And they sounded good, but I leave and I see you, and it's like, you know, it's not matching up.
Same.
I feel you. Your story's crazy.
Yo, there's like so much to dissect in that y'all got to run that back twice. And one of the biggest things that I took from that was, you are your own opportunity.
Facts.
Like, you are the opportunity. You are what you make it. And you, like you said, you just got to go out and get it.
Yeah.
Talk that, walk that.
Yeah. They say beauty's pain, you know. It's the same thing. Like, hustle isn't cheap, you know. And it's like, and do you have that emotional currency to, you know, to drive that hustle, to be able to cash some checks when it gets hard, you know. being able to put in that work, that blood, sweat, and tears, and it'll not always be about monetary things. That's where we started with this story. I was chasing money, thinking that when these rappers is talking about chasing money, we're always talking about Benjamins. It's all about the Benjamins. And it's like, nah, Diddy. And I know it's more than that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we got to figure out how to really get behind and how this stuff is going to work for us, because I get tired of, running the basic rat race of the hamster wheel. How can I make this money work differently? And understanding, those economic trends and paying attention, being able to afford to pay attention, let me say, has always been really important.
So much knowledge in that one.
You're writing a book, aren't you?
Bro, he just read us a book. What are you talking about? This was like the easiest podcast ever, man. I just said something and he just went. It was beautiful.
100%.
Yeah, I got something for you guys. I always, when I meet people now, I'm currently a design instructor. I never see myself as a teacher, I always see myself as a leader, but I didn't realize that I've always been teaching, but just in different ways. And, I always stimulate my students in different ways, asking them deep questions and because it shows a lot. It shows you a lot about yourself, even when you're not thinking. And one of my first question for you guys, I'm challenging you all with, is if you came with a warning label, what would your warning label say?
Not for everyone.
Fire.
Warning will outwork every person in this fucking room. That's what I think. That's my thing.
Nice.
I don't know.
That's why it's a challenge, man. It's hard.
What would my warning label be? I feel like someone could give me a better one than I could give myself.
That's no fun.
I don't know.
He's
Give
a
me one.
workaholic.
Yeah.
We'll give him
That is
workaholic.
very true.
Yeah.
He is.
It's all about that. That's very dope. Another one, because we're all influenced by music. We all bought into the stories that RZA and all of them was telling us. So I always ask, if aliens, which do exist, and science is real,
Facts.
and all of that, if aliens came down and asked you to make a playlist, what would you put on that playlist? And they chose you. What would be on that playlist?
Did you really have to ask me?
I have to, man.
Freddie Gibbs.
Yeah.
You know I'm putting Gibbs on there.
Yo, let's hear some songs. Let's hear this collaborative. If they came down to 540, the team, and they was like, the aliens are coming to y'all to put together a playlist for the world.
Are we saying like a playlist from us or a playlist of like all of hip
Playlist
hop?
of music that is influenced, that you want the world to hear.
Are we
a
talking
world
just
soundtrack.
hip hop, or are we talking
We're
about
talking about
everything?
music.
Man, see, that's way too broad of a question because like
Okay, we can talk about hip hop. Let's talk about music that has influenced you, that you think
all right,
needs to
see,
be a
now
part
that's
of.
now that's a more narrow scope that I could answer in like a minute.
Cool. Let's talk about. Okay, so let me re-ask this question. So if aliens came down and they chose you to make a playlist on how life has influenced you through hip hop music.
Okay.
What's on that playlist?
Okay. All right. Bet I can do that. We're gonna take it from the early jump, and then we're gonna work our way up to Freddie Gibbs. So to start off with that playlist, I'll probably throw Shook Ones on it. Shook Ones, I feel like, is one of the most monumental hip hop songs and hip hop beats, and of all time, in my opinion. So Mobb Deep, Shook Ones. There's gonna be some Pac in there. Probably something off All Eyes on Me or Me Against the World. Skipping ahead. I'll put In the Club on there because of how big of an impact it had when it dropped. There's very few songs I can mention that had that big of an impact and were that big, so to speak, when it came out. And this was before like the internet was popping. Fast forward a little more. I'll probably put something off the documentary and Game. We rocked that hard in middle school. And then fast forward to high school. I got to shout out my homie Titty Boy.
Yeah.
AKA 2
You were
Chainz.
on that, yeah.
Bruh, I was a fan of Titty before he became 2 Chainz.
Facts.
So I'm
That is a
it's
factual
very-
statement.
yeah.
bruh, yo, you know all about them days. So City Boy, and then moving forward, if I were to put some stuff for us, like Migo, me and Shy got a song called Switch. The aliens definitely need to check out and probably watch the music video that was shot by T. Clem. And for sure need to check out Choices. And then you fast forward to Freddie Gibbs and like damn near his last
Why
3
Freddie
albums.
Gibbs?
are
What
on
is
that.
it about Freddie Gibbs and his story? Like, why?
Bro, I've been on Gibbs since like 2012, 2013,
Mhm.
and I've seen the progression. I don't know. Okay, so when I first started to come up, I was big into Mobb Deep and that gritty, grimy Wu-Tang, like,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like Gibbs and Pac, and I feel like Gibbs like embodies that in the new age. You know what I mean? Like he's got the stage presence, the songs, the beat selection, the lyricism, the content, like. That's that dude right now.
Yeah,
That's my favorite rapper at the
Yeah,
time.
I think that's great. You know, like.
We're not going to get into the story of Freddie Gibbs in Chicago.
Oh
That's
no! We're definitely doing that. That is a perfect segue.
You should
that-
have brought it up.
It was
Yeah.
going to happen.
It was
regardless.
happening.
He
It was happening.
He
Let's
was leading
lead-
me to it.
Yeah, like it was definitely the old bait and
This
switch.
is my
All right, I'm
downfall.
just going to
But,
catch
like-
everybody up. We took a trip to Chicago.
Complex Con.
Complex Con, what was that,
19?
last year?
Complex Con 19.
19.
Yeah.
Shout out Complex Con 19.
Yeah.
So we was out in Chicago for Complex Con. We actually shot 2 music videos. We shot Teamwork, and then Shy and Logue shot Ill Sauce, which was actually in front of your apartment.
Yo,
In the
word.
middle of the street.
Shout out that photo, that epic, iconic image.
Right
that
in the
just,
middle of
like
the
pop up
street.
on the screen like
Yeah.
that.
So
that was love.
we decided to go out the night we got there. I forget what the place was. I can't remember what it
Ace
was
Hotel.
called.
Shout
Was
out
it
Ace
the Ace
Hotel in
Yeah.
Chicago. Shout out the Speakeasy experience in Chicago
Yo,
overall.
facts. So we went to the downstairs bar, and I forget, Yellow ran into an NBA player. He was retired. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Al Harrington. I think he ran into Al Harrington and his wife. Maybe his wife.
Sounds like something that Yellow would do.
Anyways, all right, we were there because I seen Gibbs was pulling up for his album release party. He just released.
He just performed that day.
Well, yeah, he performed at a festival, but he just released Bandana like a week or 2 prior, and it was like, bet, we're going to pull up, we're going to chill. We got there early.
Got
So-
fucked up.
Okay,
we
this
got,
is
like-
where we're gonna pause the
All
story.
right,
really
this is
quick.
where I'm going to turn the story over to Malcolm.
Yeah, so this is a very interesting story. Complex Con was a lot. You know, if you've ever been to a convention at all, you know, there's a lot of things going on. I mean, it takes a lot out of you. You know, I think we were all there to network, experience, and then it provided a great opportunities for us all. I remember I met my childhood hero there, ran into and got to kick it with Bum B. That was that was an awesome, amazing experience. Shout out
Yo,
to
that's crazy. He
shout
did
out to
meet Bun.
Bun. Shout
Yeah.
out to everybody else we kind of like ran into. But, you know, being somebody who's always looking forward to creating opportunities, and what Pocket Full of Stones did for me growing up, even not being able to speak from that perspective in the streets, being able to take that information and apply it in other ways, and growing up through, you know, UGK and, you know, their transition to mainstream hip hop with Jay-Z and Big Pimpin' and all of that. That was just an awesome experience. But, you know, getting back to how this makes sense to the story, we were all very exhausted. And, you know, as you've already heard, you know, Freddie Gibbs is somebody that my experience with Freddie Gibbs was from you. It was just like, yo, Freddie Gibbs, this dude is nice, yada, yada, yada. I'm checking him out. I've got respect for it, but it wasn't something that I would go out and search for, so to speak. So you put me completely onto Freddie Gibbs, and everything I know about Freddie Gibbs is essentially from you. I understood the fact that his father-in-law was Eric Dickerson.
Yeah.
And that sports connection was there for me, and following that he loved sports, and him being on ESPN when they would allow like a gritty hip hop artist to kind of show their face or things like that. I would follow passively who Gibbs was, but you know, I really had no connection if it really wasn't
All
for
right, man,
you.
let's get it over with.
So, and understanding that, you know, you guys hitting me up being like, yo, we about to hit this. Gibbs is performing tonight. I'm like, bet. It was about like 6 o'clock. We're back at the crib. Everybody's exhausted, pregame drinking. These guys are talking about going to the bar at 9:30, 10 o'clock. I'm like, This is when that drop. This is Chicago. This is Chicago. Like, all right, like these guys are soldiers. Do you not know?
The time zone changes.
Yeah.
So it was a little later for us.
Do you not know that, like, we're not going home to 3-4 a.m.? Do you not know that this is the life that we're living?
I was good. I was good.
So,
Look.
long story short, you know, I'm keeping in touch with them. They're like, yo, we're fading out. Everybody's tired. We're about to leave. And I'm like, nah. My team, everybody's coming. We're pulling up to the spot. As we're pulling up, they're walking out looking defeated. This team is looking defeated.
Except me, I was good.
You were good. You were good.
I
and Yellow. You and Yellow. Shout out Yellow.
I should have stopped
Like-
and just like turn around and be like, "Fuck you,
I
Brandon.
saw
You can
them,
Uber home."
and I was like, please don't leave. Just stay. I just got here.
Yeah.
Like, we're in Chicago, man. Like,
Yeah.
come on, let's live. Y'all leave. As soon as my elevator, because this is a speakeasy, this is a hotel, and you have to like go up through this different elevator to actually get to the rooftop of this bar. As soon as my elevator door opens up, Freddie Gibbs and his entourage walks out beside me in the other elevator. Mind you, my only connection to this guy is to this guy sitting right beside me. So,
who's stumbling down the street trying to find food.
I was
as
about to
you
say,
can
we were going for
imagine, because it was Freddie Gibbs' birthday, he set this mother trucker. I remember his team gave him a bottle. All the models came out, gave his bottle service. He took a mic from the DJ, stands up on his table. I'm literally sitting at the next section behind this guy. And my only connection to this guy is this guy. This guy wanted to sleep so bad that he missed out on an opportunity to hear drunk rants and the realest, trillest, rawest music drop live, bro. Like, talking about an experience I will never let him live down. It was the time that he chose sleep over Freddie Gibbs.
I have to relive this moment every time we link up. Like, literally every time. I'm just going to stop playing Freddie Gibbs around y'all. All right, back to the aliens.
Yeah.
Sha, what's your playlist looking like for the aliens?
Oh, for the aliens, definitely starting off with "Juicy" by Biggie. That was probably, literally, my mom used to play that in the car all the time, and that's when I fell in love with hip hop, and that's when I fell in love with wanting to like dream up my perfect life.
Mhm.
That's what that song taught me how to do, and I feel like that would be lit. Then probably gotta be the whole Slim Shady LP, because when I got obsessed with hip hop, I literally ripped the door off my closet, put a piece of plywood in there, and made a desk. I filled the entire thing with like posters. And I would bump the Slim Shady LP and just try to write rhymes. Like, so they were really ridiculous, but that definitely holds a place in my heart. I was also in a weird phase where I like Blink-182, you know what I mean? Like, I like that type of music. And Simple Plan, which is like listening to it now, it's kind of whack, but I was playing that shit and singing it to the top of my lungs. I'm not gonna act like I wasn't.
TRL changed my life. You know,
Yeah.
definitely experienced a lot of different music from TRL. Even though hip hop was like where it was at for me, all that other music I definitely had, you know, I have like TRL to thank.
100%. And then I gotta throw, like, I'm a huge Machine Gun Kelly fan. That's probably my like Freddie Gibbs, like A1. So, and he has a song called "Song for Aliens" on his new album. So that would be lit. Probably end it off with that.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure.
What you got, man?
I mean, you gotta put 36 Chambers on shuffle and just let it rock.
That's very true.
Of course.
Hold that.
Is that all you're giving them?
No.
Here's the 36.
Yeah, take it. I mean, they'll probably be happy with it.
Yeah.
Saint Lunatics, you know, Nelly got
Wow.
that was a staple
Wow.
when I
What,
was
Country
growing
Grammar
up.
or
Country
the-
Grammar,
yeah.
all of it.
Yeah.
What else? Well then, like Big Crit, of course.
Mm.
Wiz, Currency, Us.
There
Yeah.
you go.
What song of Us would you have them listen to?
Probably just anything off Part 1. I feel like that's
Really?
really- yeah,
Part 1's your favorite?
probably
I
Part 1 or
hate you.
2.
Why part one?
Because it was like the
Brandon's
beginning,
face.
you know, it's
It
like
was the
beginning
beginning.
stages. So I feel like there's more like I don't know. We were.
Yeah, it's
Part
easy
one
for
and
him
two
to
is-
say
or
because
two
he's
is
behind the
better.
camera. He's
Yeah.
behind the scenes.
I'll let him listen to finger roll. I'm on the
I
hook.
was hoping you'd say finger roll. This guy said part one. The only reason I don't like part one anymore is because I feel like I could have mixed it better. But
Yeah, but that's the griminess. That's
no,
the,
I
that's
know,
the,
I know. I learned so much
that's the
more
heart.
after that, and then whatever.
That's the heart.
It is what it is. I
That-
fuck with part one.
Yeah. That's funny. So, if you could spend your last 24 hours on Earth, what would it look like with an unlimited budget?
Bruh, that's tough.
I feel like I gotta.
I've never thought about this. Go
Dude,
ahead.
I feel like I would do what we're doing now, but like in the way that I've always wanted to. Like I want to live like Drake for 24 hours. I want to go do a show in a packed out stadium, have bottles in the back with endless amount like of resources, and then in the morning maybe we're gonna be on a beach riding jet skis before that, and I'll take a nap this time in between the two.
You only got
So
24
that I
hours.
don't
You only got
fall
24
asleep.
hours. You
got
ain't
24
napping.
You
4
taking a
hours.
nap?
Look, I'm
Sean's
not
like,
trying to fall
I'm
asleep.
gonna take a 20-hour
at the
nap. We're gonna wake up. We gonna hit McDonald's.
Yo. Oh my God, I'm trying to like eat dinner before at the fanciest restaurant ever and order anything on the menu because price is not an issue, like, and just experience it with all y'all, my people.
I'm trying to live Shaw's last 24 hours.
But I want that
That's
to be
lit.
every day.
Mine'd be like totally different. I feel like if 24 hours, I gotta do shit that I haven't experienced yet. Like put me
Talk
on the,
that
put
shit,
me on the
man.
Nürburgring with every fucking car I can get, and just let me
Facts.
rip some shit.
There you go.
You know you got 24 hours, so you're probably not going to die. Like, you're guaranteed 24 hours.
Yeah.
So,
Unless you're doing like 200. In
yeah,
like a
I mean,
Bugatti.
don't screw yourself early on. You
Yeah.
spend the rest of the time in the hospital.
Let me
Yeah.
crash and burn before my 24 hours is
Why
up.
don't you do that at the end of
Yeah.
the 24? Like, why don't you just cap it off with 200 miles an hour?
Yeah.
Put me at the 24-hour Le Mans. Let me finish that shit on my last minute. Just last minute, boom, Earth blows
ball
up.
out.
He didn't say the Earth's blowing up. He said it's your last
I don't
24
know.
hours. He's just playing.
I hear that, man. Like, I hear that. So what you got, man? You don't have any unique experiences?
I don't know. I like where Shaw's going. Definitely doing a performance, whether that's at the beginning of the 24 or the end. Beach sounds good. I love the beach. We should definitely incorporate that in there somewhere. Being around loved ones, family. You guys, you are my family.
Hookers.
No, I'm not with the hookers. I don't even like strip clubs.
I support the fine arts establishments of the culture of the hood.
He's always got a nice, beautiful way of explaining
it.
things.
I love
This
my
guy told the
strippers.
story of
the
him
fine
getting
dining.
arrested like it was a fucking Disney movie. That was hilarious. Like
Hell yeah.
the way our mindset was and our getting money. Like, bro, that
That's
was
so
awesome.
funny.
I don't know, man. That's a deep question that I don't even know how to answer. But it would just be, I would like to spend it relaxing, chilling, doing a little something like this, and hell, even documenting that last 24. You know.
Mhm.
So I'd want adrenaline. I'd want to be like pumping, like last 24 hours, bro.
Man, my adrenaline's been pumping all my life.
want my
Like
heart-
I've been
I
grinding.
want my heart
and
to
getting
stop.
it.
I got so
Like,
much adrenaline.
Hell yeah.
That's so
I'm
funny.
trying to chill and enjoy it. Like y'all ain't gonna have me chugging beers, motherfucker. I'm gonna sip this thing.
Yeah.
I hate that. They'd be like, "Yo, chug it. We gonna chug one. We gonna beer bong." Like, bro, I'm trying to enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Relax.
take it in.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so funny.
And it ain't gonna be that last 24 ain't gonna be in cold weather. Like I want it to be like 80 degrees.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. You
Facts.
can have
bro,
that.
I'm gonna be in shorts and no shirt
Yeah. Yeah. I heard that, man.
all day.
Facts.
Nice.
Probably in some J's that I've never worn.
Yeah.
Because we all sitting on something
Yeah.
dead stock that it's like I'm
Facts.
waiting for the right opportunity. And
You gonna crease them?
man, I'm not wearing force fields that day. I don't give a fuck.
We balling out.
We're pushing
we
the
running the
limit.
nail.
I'm jumping off the yacht in the shoes.
Yeah.
No force
I'm being
field.
real ignorant. I'm
That's-
definitely making a lot of wardrobe changes that day. That's for sure.
Is that okay? All right. You asked us. What's your 24 look like?
My 24 is a little bit of collectively of all those things. It's just like partying, looking at it as a huge party and an event. I would want some access to like PJ travel.
Oh,
Private jet. You know, we
Yeah.
are going to as many destinations as we can
uh-huh.
in 24 hours. I'm definitely trying to be on the beach. I'm definitely going to Mykonos. I'm chilling out in Greece for a little bit. I am hitting whatever we can hit in that time frame. You know, we're going hard. I'm definitely hitting the Autobahn and something crazy for sure.
So you're spending yours in Europe.
I'm going everywhere. You know, like I love the simple hole in the wall restaurants that I love to support. Chicago, New Orleans, Texas. We're definitely eating some Southern barbecue. We're definitely, you know, experiencing a lot all and in short periods of time, and everybody's coming with. If it's like, I don't know how many people can fly on the Air Force One, but I'm going to borrow that bitch for about 24 hours. We're going to pack that joint.
Yo, I think that's like one of the coolest questions I've heard in a while.
Yeah.
I might steal that.
Go ahead, man. It's
You know,
all yours.
Do you got any more questions for us?
I forgot on my 24 hours. Rihanna's gonna be there the whole time.
Oh, that's
Oh,
a
yeah.
game
Oh,
changer.
how mine
Nice
ends,
touch.
though. How mine's ends
Oh,
is
snap.
on a yacht
Uh-huh.
sailing off into the sunsets for the flat earthers, the end of the world, or wherever life takes me next.
Nice. There it is.
That's hilarious.
That's good.
But I would say, like, my final question is mainly, like, what is quarantine, COVID, and all of these times of, like, these radical social times? What is that? How has that shaped your perception on life? And, like, how has that just affected you in, like, how you guys show up in your music and telling stories and being able to speak to not only the advantages of not experiencing certain things, also acknowledging what other people are going through? What is this pandemic did for you? Some people's got rich. Some people's got, I mean, I think everybody's got rich in all different types of ways. We've all found things from cooking, cleaning. You know, I've adopted like 20 plants.
There you go.
Like, you know, what is this kind of brought to you?
I feel like I've learned to be a little more grateful for the little things. I haven't stopped grinding, still working, still doing this. As a musician and an artist, I feel like it has leveled the playing field for artists like us and at our level, you know, being that there is no tours. Literally we have the same opportunities to make money like the big artists, you know, streaming and merch. Granted, they have a bigger platform than us, but, you know, it's kind of leveled it out a little bit. Quarantine's also, for the podcast, allowed us to reach out to some creatives that we might not have been able to otherwise, because, you know, everybody's kind of in a stagnant position and able to do these podcasts with us, and they're not out, you know, moving about.
Yeah, I really appreciate that opportunity, you know, being out, being able to work remotely right now, and being able to say, hey, screw it, you know, if there's any time that I can come back and chill for a month and a half, why not do it now and still be able to get my shit done? And it's also showed a lot of people that, like my parents, like, you know, you can work from home. You know, you can be successful not showing up to the office every single day, which is, I hope, shows all these rich folks, you know, that there's another way of like doing business.
Oh, there's going to be a whole nother, you know, life on the other side of this.
For sure.
It's going to look a little different.
For sure.
I feel like it affected two aspects of my life. And the first aspect was everything that went on with, like, all the social injustice. Like, that hit me in a way that I never, like, it struck something in me that I didn't even know was there. And I just realized I have a much bigger responsibility than I ever paid attention to before. You know, I was very much like, I'm going to keep my energy positive, and I'm just going to distance myself from anybody that's negative. But, like, seeing all this made me realize, like, I need to be vocal about what's right and wrong. And if I lose friends from that, I lose friends from that.
Facts.
If people don't respect me because of my opinion, they don't respect me. But, like, I just can't. I realized that from everything, and like, it came out of nowhere. It was really emotional, and it was super crazy. And I'm trying to be vocal about that and tell those stories, you know?
Yeah.
So that's important. And then not being working from home for that long, like, it gave me space to understand what I want my life to look like. I feel like I'm just moving 100 miles a minute every single day, but like I want my life to be a little different than what it looks like right now. And taking the time and space to be able to be like, I want to build more creative things, and I want to, shoot videos and work on doing all this other stuff. Like, I don't think I would have really put the energy into it that I do if I didn't have the quarantine to force me into it.
Yeah, that's really valuable. I think, like, something that I don't agree with, I seen one of these hip BS brands. I hate bad brands. And I seen somebody advertising "fuck 2020," like that was just like logos, T-shirts, and they were jacking like the logo of Antisocial Club, but like making it on some "fuck 2020" stuff. And I'm like, as I'm looking at it, I'm like, 2020 was the best race that nobody ever finished, because like everybody stumbled out the great gate, and if you were rich, poor, small, tall, you stumbled, you fell, and you got the opportunity to take advantage at the same time the billionaires were trying to figure this out. 2020 provided a great opportunity for family, community, and all of these things. Zoom is just, shout out Zoom, and all these technologies that we have in place that has brought us closer together. Change is amongst us, and when there's what our idea of normal will never be the same, so understanding that and being able to learn and take additional things like that, that's dope, Shaw. That's real dope.
Yeah.
Trav?
My life has changed so much in like the past 6 months but there's like some things I can't tell if it's because of quarantine or just other things, but I know like my business has grown substantially in the past, and housing market, because I do a lot of real estate shit, so that's like crazy. So quarantine's been good, but also been,
it's a gift and a curse.
yeah, it's some parts of it's just like, damn.
Yeah. But like I was telling a student the other day, it's just one of those things. They were really upset that my student is essentially working in an apprenticeship, working with this small business, doing business. And before they came to my class, they owned a jewelry business that went out of business because of COVID. And their intern, when they pulled the straw, was working with this jewelry company. And it was really hard for them to kind of work and navigate under this umbrella, because it was like, look, I'm ahead of this person. I know more than this person. And even though this person does dope things, it's really hard for me that I'm making a career change. This person's in here. And I'm like, well, come over here. Let's talk about perspective right now. Like, if anything, you're the best person for this job. You know everything from what failure looks like, what you're deeming as failure, and why didn't things work out. You have the opportunity of industry knowledge, and how you're showing up and how you're selling yourself. There's always going to be two ways to look at this. We can see that in how the media portrays things today, but like, what is your voice? And that is really important. I think for myself to kind of answer that question, it was like, for the first time, I realized that I had a voice. I had to speak up. A lot of things I've been really passive about, not taking responsibility for things, feeling like, like that's not my job, or if you don't get it, you don't get it, or I'm not trying to step on any toes. And then I said that to like one of my mentors, and they stopped me, and they were like, why? Why are you trying to be innovative but don't want to offend anybody? Why do you want to be creative and you're afraid of what looks different to other people and how they may feel? And I love all these people out speaking their voice, speaking up for all these different causes, and through peaceful protests and through violent protests. You couldn't have Malcolm without Martin. They both play a very valuable part to being heard. And together, that stuff together creates change. It creates attention for change. And like I appreciate all of you guys and how you guys embrace the community. I've always said that's why I was so behind the brand and why I've been with it. I feel like from day one when you came in the finish line, it was like 540. This is it. You know, this is where we're going to start growing, and this is the mission. And it's like, yo, count me in. You know, I've been riding from the bird's eye view, but I've always been really close by, like rooting and just trying to influence, because it all starts with community and family first, and definitely speaking up to being able to talk to being in a small town, being able to talk to the struggles in which we all have identified, you know, separately, and being able to, you know, create around that. So like, kudos to all of you guys in these tough times to like, They thought they threw us in the dirt, but didn't realize we were seeds, you know, that we're going to continue to grow. You know, when we're 6 feet deep, at times it feels like there's no surviving, but you just kind of just got to embrace it, go with the flow, and just allow yourself to grow, because what you're about to experience next is about to be crazy.
Yeah, no,
Yo, I appreciate that for real.
Yeah.
And dude, like you've been spitting game, like we have, you know, business talks, just us just talking, and I've picked up so much from you over the years, and I may not even realize it, but you know, I implement those things into the way we carry ourselves and do business. Yeah,
man, for sure. I was so humbled when a millionaire told me I'm freelancing with a speakeasy, you know, Fortune. I don't. All I know is they're a big speakeasy club,
right,
that is all over the U.S. that is associated, highly regarded, you know, hopefully be able to name drop when that check drops. But when this guy was like, damn, man, it's so honored to be around a self-made individual. Like, you inspire me. And I'm like, dog, you got 6 clubs, one in South Beach that you just opened. You're talking about, I inspire you. I'm trying to figure out how I get a G-Wagon like yours.
Yeah.
Like, what you mean? Like,
Yeah.
what you mean? And really understanding that, yo, I got a voice. I got a story, too. You know, J. Cole says it a lot. You know, there'll always be a bigger car, a badder chick, you know, a bigger house, you know. But, like, you're never going to it's all about loving yours and understanding that yours is just as important as, you know, the shit going on around you. And I love you guys for being able to focus on what's around you to leverage it, rather than looking at this place or looking at any opportunities that you guys are in as like opportunities that, you know, that you can't succeed and, you know, hustle from, you know. So even though times is hard, 2020 has all affected us differently, like knowing that this is only a season and we're just growing and we're going to continue to grow. And just got to, you know, continue to provide that affirmation, especially to other creatives, being a creative, understanding that on the corporate side, and I'll probably always see myself on the corporate side when we're about to take 540 public, you know, I'm going to be up there talking that cash shit. But like, I know, like, you know, we got to support each other in times like this, because, you know, people are always going to be there to tell us no and that we're not good enough. And what makes us valuable is that we'll find a way. We didn't go through the front door, but we got in the building.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. Hey, as long as you're in the building, that's what matters.
Yeah.
Look, you asked us questions, and we like to wrap things up by, I got a couple fun questions.
Cool.
But they're important questions.
Cool.
And then Shaw's going to hit you with, like, the real important questions.
All right, let's do
All right,
it.
so these are just quick answers. Say, you know, first thing that comes to mind, or, you know what I mean, whatever.
Sure.
All right, ready? Favorite flavor of Pop-Tart?
I'm going to say it. Okay. Well, I'm going to keep it easy. I'm one of the, I will go with the cherry Pop-Tart. Cherry Pop-Tart is the best Pop-Tart. But I'm also low-key kind of crazy with this next statement. The unfrosted Pop-Tart.
What?
Bruh! Which kind, though?
I think strawberry.
Really?
Which
I'm not
one you got?
knocking you. I'm unfrosted blueberry.
I think I'm down for both.
I ain't knocking you.
Yeah, like I think I appreciate both, but I think I've had strawberry more
yeah.
to where the unfrosted, like I love the crust of a Pop-Tart.
Bruh.
Like
I'm
with
it's a
it.
good pastry.
I'm with it.
It's a good pastry. What can I
Unfrosted
say?
is like a Fig Newton that got run over.
Trav, you're not
Hey,
allowed to
bro.
talk. You don't like seafood. Nah, what's funny is we've had 2 other podcasts this week, and I asked the same question, and both of them said s'mores. So if you said s'mores, I was gonna drop my headset and walk out.
Nah. I'm old school. When they was making those Pop-Tarts and I was eating them, it was unfrosted strawberry, and I think cherry showed his face as a new flavor.
Bruh,
and I got that to be like, ooh,
Yeah.
like,
I'm
you
balling.
got this with strawberry, but this is cherry.
Yo, I rock with the cherry. I rock with the cherry frosted and then the unfrosted blueberry.
Yep.
All
What
right.
about the wild berry, yo?
Woo.
I fuck with wild berries.
I mean, it's
too.
all right. Like, we'll tolerate it. In college, I made a couple ice cream sandwiches from those. Like, we can do some things.
All right, first album you bought.
First album I bought from a store, or the first album that like I like just paid for, like with my own money.
Isn't that essentially the same?
I guess, yeah. I've looked at them differently because, like,
You were
I remember my experience of going to a store
Yeah.
and buying my first album. The first album that I bought because I wasn't allowed to listen to
Uh-huh.
unedited hip hop was going to Kmart.
Kmart sold
Super K?
unedited CDs.
Yeah,
though.
and parents weren't hip to that.
Yeah.
And then they also weren't hip to soundtracks. And the first CD I ever bought that I paid my allowance for was the Godzilla soundtrack because of Mason Diddy being on that.
Word.
Hey.
Really? What song? Just a
You Can
random-
Hate Me Now.
No, that was Nas.
Oh, wait, what song was Diddy or Mace? Mace was on there was another. I know
It was a
Hate Me
Mace and
Now
Diddy
was on
joint.
there, and there was another song
Uh-huh.
with Mace on the soundtrack, and it was a hip hop. I think
Uh-huh.
Diddy might have produced that. I don't know who the producer was for that
Uh-huh.
soundtrack, but it was a soundtrack
That's
that
so
caught a
Yo,
lot of
that's
people off guard.
crazy.
Which Godzilla was it?
Probably
it
the
was
2000
I
or
think it was
Godzilla
like
2000?
It was
I know what you're talking about.
that first big one that was
Yeah.
kind of re-released.
The one he looked like a big lizard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, I've said this before. The first album I bought was Mystical, Let's Get Ready.
Mhm.
But thinking back, like the first like CD I ever had was a soundtrack.
Mhm.
It was one of the Batman soundtracks.
Yeah,
and it
Batman
was the
Forever
one with
soundtrack with Seal?
Seal. It
Yeah.
was Seal.
I
And
had that on cassette.
yo, bro, like later on in life, like I revisited it and realized there was a Method Man track called The Riddler. Man, he went off on that.
Bro.
Hey, that's another person I'd put on that list of
Yeah.
for the aliens.
Aliens.
Method Man's that dude. All right,
Yeah.
moving on.
Cow?
Favorite movie?
Top 5.
All right,
I
we'll
gotta-
take it. We'll accept
I
it.
will. I have to say my top 5 to
Okay.
come to my one.
Okay.
Top 5. 500 Days of Summer. Inception.
Oh, that's a good one.
Gladiator. Back to the Future.
Really? Okay, here it is.
Number 1.
And The Town.
Really?
Ooh.
I mean, great movie. I just didn't think it would be.
And I think overall, if
Mhm.
that's my top 5, and it's like, what's my favorite?
Oh, okay.
It's one that I didn't even mention, and it's Pulp Fiction.
Okay, there it
Pulp
is.
Fiction is number
I knew it
one.
was gonna be one
I
of them
appreciate
classics.
all of those movies and how they've told stories and the different things that they showed me. But like, I always go into like, Pulp Fiction is the best, but it's always what you hear. But I think my top 5 is it's definitely.
He's got a
around that.
top 5 and a
And
favorite.
Yeah, and
Got
the
to.
favorite,
And
your
one,
favorite
yeah.
switches out. You know,
Yeah.
you gotta like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel it. I
Maneuver.
feel
In
it.
those moods, you get in those moods, and
I got 2 more. What helps inspire your creativity?
I would say what inspires my creativity.
Could be music, could be scenery, could be a walk in the
I think
park.
it's cultural influence.
Okay.
How things impact people culturally.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm working with T. Clem over here, just in some logos that and inspired me.
Mhm.
American legacy brands that inspired me, and
Mhm.
how I kind of want to tell that story through my name, and how I want to hang my flag
Mhm.
off of that. I love like the art of bootlegging. Like
Yeah.
I love bootlegging. It's the best hustle because you can experiment and
Mhm.
try things and
Mhm.
leverage things.
Yeah.
Mixtape Wayne, he had no direction, dropped a whole bunch of mixtapes and was like, okay, this is how we're gonna, this is how I'm gonna keep myself ready,
Yeah.
to be able to create the Carter 3. I
Uh-huh.
thought that was so awesome to
Uh-huh.
leverage things that already existed to create something that never existed.
Okay. All right. I got one more, and this could be funny or serious, however you want to put it to the listeners. A piece of relationship advice.
Listen.
Damn, that's a good one.
Listen. I would definitely say. And yeah, listen, I would say. And if you can afford it, everybody can't afford it, but if you can afford to pay attention, Ooh, it ain't for
I
everybody.
feel like that's like a shot at me.
Ooh.
Bruh, that just hit home. I'm going to throw this to Shaw because this got personal.
He said
I'm
pay
just playing.
attention. Nah. All right. So these ones are a little more open-ended. Gives your mind some room to breathe. But what's something that you're working on improving in your life right now? And it could be anything. It could be based in anything. It doesn't have to be a creative thing.
Mental health. Understanding what emotional intelligence is and educating myself on that, because it's something that everybody has, but they're just never really building upon it or never taking the time to understand why they respond to certain situations. They just respond, and really taking the time to reflect and spend time on my mental health, investing in understanding what emotional intelligence is and how it affects me. It's definitely, what I'm on right now.
Dope. I love that. What does success look like for you at this point in your life?
Success is just like opportunity. Allow myself to keep open doors. Like there's a lot of times I've came up with ego and tried to kick the door open and fell over and the door didn't open, and like being pissed off that I couldn't figure out how to like unlock that door, but my ass left and came back with bolt cutters, and I'm going to find a way to continue to, create opportunity. I don't know where I'm really going. I'm just in a haunted house, a sick twisted haunted house, just opening up doors and just seeing what that room and that experience, feels like, and trying to leverage it until I get, to the top floor and be able to kind of sit back and kind of reflect. But I think success for me is being able to create my own opportunities.
Hell yeah. Last question. If you could give a creative coming up, whether they're trying to build a brand, a business, anything, if you could give them 1 to 2 pieces of advice, just out of all the experiences that you've had, what would that be?
Show your work early. All creatives, show your work early, even if it's messy. Get out of your idea that you're going to record something once and it's going to be perfect. Show your work, talk through what that means, and accept feedback. You're nothing without criticism. So, those are a couple of things. But being able to accept criticism and being able to feel comfortable being naked, exposing yourself and showing your shit early, those are 2 valuable things that I love to share to all creatives. It's extremely important.
That's a great piece of advice. Man, you've been dropping gems all podcast. At times I felt like this was your podcast and not the Iron Skillet podcast, and
What
I love
up?
it, man. I love the comfortability. I love the knowledge you brought to it, and there's a lot of gems that we're going to chop out of this one and definitely run this one back.
For sure.
There's going to be a
Thank you guys for
lot
having me.
coming from Mac here in the future in the process of a little rebranding. So when all that goes down, we're going to drop all the links and let y'all know how to get in touch with Mac. And, I'm sure.
Holla at me on LinkedIn. I'm a businessman. I do real business things. We're not on sliding in DMs anymore. It's like, talk to me nicely, bro. I'm on LinkedIn, bro. Holla at me. I'm somewhere to be found on the World Wide Web. There
you go.
MacLofton.com. He's out there floating around. It's definitely I'm very, very accessible, even though I like to hang out in the shadows and behind the scenes a lot. And sometimes, even though I'm the face, I find myself like dude in Great Gatsby. I'm the face of the party, but nobody knows whose party it is. We're just out here living life, experiencing things, and it's like sometimes I'm in the front of the room or I'm in the back of the room. Extremely approachable. I'm very humble. I'm always open into creating and thinking and talking. I'm here.
Big whoop. Well, you got anything else you want to say before we send them off?
stay stimulated, stay hungry. You know, there's a lot of complacency out there. You know, continue to, you know, find that motivation to not be somebody who pump fakes but follows through. You know, shoot that shot, because everybody has that one shot in them, and feel comfortable, you know, shooting that shit, and don't think anything of the result. Just be happy that you were able to shoot your shot.
That's big.
Fire.
Mac, we appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
It's the Iron Skillet Podcast. And don't forget, you are your own opportunity.
Yep.
Go out there and make it. Big whoop.